Can anyone hear me? Yo, what's up, dude? I'm trying to check. Can you hear me? What up, Sean? Can you hear me, dude? I don't know if you can hear me. I want to play this. Hold on one sec. Oh, you can hear me? Alright, cool. I'm trying to play something. What's up, Sean? Good to see you, man. Trying to.
And now.
Start on the day you got shot, go from there.
Sure. It was June 9th, 2009. I was in Chicago, and at that time, I was an active gang member. Unfortunately, but fortunately, because it brought me to the Lord.
Wait,
but
what?
2009, in June,
What?
I was with a friend, and it's a highly populated area. Very rare in the city to be able to see someone. I had a feeling that someone was following me. I went to a store. I saw this one gentleman. I just kind of something in my stomach didn't feel right, and it was like he was greeting me, and I greeted him, and I looked at my friend and just said, let's shoved it off. So about 30 minutes later, we went to another store because we're gonna go do some shopping. And later on that night, we're gonna go to the nightclub. So we're gonna get some outfits, go get something to eat. A routine. A lot of people do go get some new clothes for the club, and I saw him again coming out the second store. He was sitting on his car outside of the store. And that is pretty rare. That is very rare. The district I lived in, there's over 500,000 people in that district. So just to run across someone 2 times within 30 minutes in a place that is somewhere so distant, far away, that was kind of unusual. So I shoved it off, but I told my friend, I said, hey, there's that guy again. And then my friend said, hey, man, you're kind of paranoid. You're not that important. No one's following you. And he kind of laughed it off, but it's just something in my gut. So then we went to the clothing store. As I'm coming out, there he was again. I said, wait a minute, okay. Something is not. And then my friends started to take notice, like, okay, yeah, something is not right here, So we went back home, and as I come out the building, this is hours later, he's standing in front of my building. And as I said, okay, I'm going to go question this guy. Just
Can you
see
see
if I know
me?
him from somewhere. This is kind of, he has to be following us at this point, or following me. So as I approached him, and I asked him, I said, he said, do you have a lighter? Because he had a cigar in his mouth. And I said, yeah, sure. And as I was digging in my pocket to hand him the lighter, all of a sudden, it was like a green flash. That's what I remember. It was a green flash. And then I smelled sulfur like matches. It's the best way I can explain it. Like a book of matches. If you would set a book of matches on fire, that smell. And I looked.
So I've been going through a lot lately. Been dealing with a lot of depression. And for some reason I watched this video tonight. And it gave me a lot of peace of mind. For whatever reason, this video helped me just to kind of forgive people and to just chill out a little bit and to realize that everyone has their own battles in life, and you might act the same way if you were in their shoes, and so you can never like gossip about people or just try to live a righteous and holy life. So I saw this video. I kind of want to share it and see what your guys' thoughts are. But can you see me? Is anyone in the chat? Can anyone see me? I know, right? Pretty high tech stuff. Can you see me, Lowrider? Can you see me? Because it says the camera's on, and I'm gonna turn the camera off if you can't see me, because it's kind of a waste. It's redundant, but like we see the video, but you can't see me. That's it. You just see the video. You don't see like a picture of me, because it says the camera's on, and like, here, I'm so bad at this. Fuck. Okay. All right. Here. Okay.
Down, and he looked at me. He had this evil grin on his face, and then that's when I noticed the gun. I guess I was in shell shock the first time he shot me. He shot me once, my lower abdomen area, and then he shot me again.
Is it full screen or is it like?
When I looked at him, it was just like everything went in slow motion, but he just had this evil, like, I got you, look on his face, and it was the most evil look. But the second time when he shot me, as I'm falling back, I noticed the force of the bullet when it hit me.
Oh, okay.
I was falling backwards. As I was falling backwards.
Here, hold on. Let me see if I can. Open prison. All right, here. Okay.
I started to black out, but when I started blacking out, falling backwards, I immediately was falling forward. Very hard to explain. I was literally laying on my back, but yet I was falling forward. Okay. The first thing I noticed was nothingness. Okay, it's the darkness that is so dark. It is so. The darkness, like I always explain, is a lie. It is gripping, and it's a terror. There's nothing that can come close. Like I always try to say, like if you could put blindfolds on, bury you, then put blindfolds on again. It was thriving, but as I'm falling, it had to be faster than the speed of light. I mean, it was.
Dude, this, like I said, man, this guy's story like changed my mindset and made me like on some reform stoic, like let's make it vibes. Like this kind of changed my outlook. So I was like, shoot, let me see if I can stream this.
In a different dimension, but the speed at which I was falling was so fast. But I noticed as I was falling, okay, I get, sometimes I get a little tied up because when I remember it, I can still feel the emotions behind it. But as I was falling, it felt like I was getting stripped away of everything good. Hope, love, laughter, joy, fellowship. Everything was getting stripped. The further and the faster I was falling, the more and more I felt naked, a spiritual nakedness. Okay? It was a vulnerability that you can't describe here on earth. Okay? It's a stripping of the soul and character and of attributes of yourself that no matter what you go through here on earth, it doesn't even come close. So as I'm falling and falling, I noticed It was a horrible smell. The stench of this smell, like I say, everything there is, because now that I realize in hindsight, I was in my spirit body. I was in the spirit form. But the smell there, you can take anything here on earth.
So if you don't know, this guy died, and he's explaining what happened to him in this like near-death experience.
Dead corpse, animals, anything, and put it all in one big, and it still would not get close to this horrible, horrible smell. And I want everyone to realize, in the spirit realm, you do not lose your 5 senses. You do not lose your taste, your sense of taste, smell, hearing, sight. Actually, they are heightened. Okay? They are magnified. So the smell, and as I'm falling and I'm smelling this, then I saw a little light, little pin drop of light as I'm falling, and it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Then I noticed that this light, I heard voices, screams. When I say screams, you can feel it in your whole soul. You can feel it in your whole body. But the weirdest part about these screams, just say if you have a lot of noise playing at one time, or just say if you have a lot of music playing at one time, you can distinctively hear each individual scream simultaneously. And I know there would have to be millions, maybe billions of these screams and screams. But as I'm falling, it's like a portal opening. The light starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, bro.
And I'm looking, and it looks like a ancient cave system. But then I feel heat, undescribable heat as I'm falling. I mean, it's kind of hard to put in terms. That's why I try my best to use descriptive words that we kind of know, because the spirit world has a component to it that everything is magnified. Not only is it magnified, everything has vibrational feeling to it. Everything. It's a different fabric of existence. It's a different format. It's a whole completely different texture of existence. So as I'm falling, I'm hearing these screams. I smell the smells, and instantly I knew I'm going, this is hell. As I'm falling. Because we here on earth, we always measure.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I would totally go towards the light. I'm a good person at heart, but I think I've let the worldliness and just trying to get clout, and I've let a lot of things compromise my path. And this video actually kind of woke me up to like, shit. I believe, everyone has a judgment day in ancient Egypt. They put your heart on a scale next to a feather, and they kind of, everyone's gonna have a judgment day, I believe.
Things in time. Time doesn't exist in the spiritual realm. It doesn't exist at all. There is no time. That's why I was wondering how I had all of this time, quote, may I say, to think all these thoughts simultaneously as I'm falling, probably faster than the speed of light, to be able to analyze all of these things. But like I say, your senses are heightened. Your awareness is definitely, your sense, you know that you know that you know in the spirit body. There's nothing to hold you back.
And this guy, just the look in his eyes, like, it doesn't seem like he's fabricating. He's speaking very matter-of-factly and just seems very real. So I'm getting genuine vibes from this guy.
From knowing anything, because time doesn't exist. Time is usually the barrier that holds you back from knowing things here on earth. But as I'm falling down, the portal gets bigger, and I notice there's rocks. There's like an ancient rock portal that I'm falling through. And the heat, it is so bad. But when I fall through, and that's the sound. It was just like the sound was the feeling at the same time. It's like a swoosh, and I hit the bottom. Now, as I hit, it was darker still. But then all of a sudden, I saw like pits. And the only way I can see is because the illumination of these pits were flaming. It was like just bursting like little furnaces. And then that's how I can see. But then what terrified me the most, okay, is the fact that as I'm laying there, the pits, when they were illuminating the space that I was in, I looked, you saw, thousands, as far as your eye can see, of these pits. And there were people in these pits, okay? Some of them were skeletal. Some of them had flesh hanging off of them. And they were like in pools of lava. But when I really looked, there were these demons creatures, reptile-looking things. Some of them were huge.
Dude, you can't make this shit up. Like, he's not making this up. There's either he has the most insane imagination ever, or I believe he went through this. Look at his eyes, dude. Look at his eyes. Doesn't look like somebody who's lying.
I would just guesstimate them to say 13 feet tall, 12 feet tall. Some of them were small. Some of them were like 3 feet tall. They were just so grotesque, and there were so many of them standing around the pits while people were trying to crawl out the pits. They were throwing them back in. They had like these rusty. Everything looks ancient there too, as far as the tools they were using. I'm gonna describe that soon enough. But they would try to get out. They were kicking them in, and they were laughing and just throwing these people back in these pits. I mean, as far as your eye can see. I mean, and there's people screaming and yelling and horror. Like it is indescribable. I wouldn't wish no one to even visit this place.
Sure.
But when I looked and analyzed and were looking at these demon creatures, I noticed a reptilian thing to them. They always, their eyes were red. Some of them eyes were yellow. They had the slits of a reptile. They had their hands were massive, especially the giant ones. The giant ones, they were the most intimidating. But even the smaller ones were more intimidating because I felt more of a hate. I always try to describe people that the hate that these demonic things, that these demonic beings have for us, it is so powerful. Just the hate alone. If that's how I know there's something holding it back. Even here on earth, when they harass us and terrorize us, there's got to be some kind of shield holding back that hatred, because just the vibration from the hate alone is so powerful. It is ancient, it's powerful, it is dark, it is gripping. They hate us. And hate is an understatement. That's just the closest word I can use to try to help people just kind of imagine and feel to get close to it. But as I'm laying and I can't get up, see, so we're so used to being in the physical body, I thought I was breathing. So when I tried to breathe, I couldn't breathe. It was it was hard. It was so hard because now, like I say, hindsight and looking back, the Lord has revealed a lot of things. I wasn't breathing at all. But we're so used to breathing subconsciously, just self-response. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was breathing. It would just, and then it would just make me more panicked. Then I tried to get up and move, and my movement, it felt like I weighed at least 800, 900 pounds. My movement was so restricted. It was just hard for me to move. It was hard for me to even, and that was the least of my worries. I was just noticing that I can't move, dude. I can't breathe. But as I'm looking around, okay, there is torture happening beyond, okay? And I learned too, there's many departments or compartments of hell, okay? And when I looked, they were ripping people's mouths open and pouring lava down their throats. They were, and the thing that really is a supernatural element to it, because of those who, because like I said before, some people had skeletal, just burnt skeletons, but some people had actual flesh on them. And when they would get ripped off, like I saw a demon one time, he just ripped off this whole lady's arm, and she was screaming in so much agony, and then her arm grew right back. It's hard to explain. It's rejuvenated. It came right back. And they were just doing it over and over, ripping her apart, ripping her to shreds. And all of a sudden, her abdomen with no legs and no arms will start growing right back. And then they'll have other demons join in and do it all over again and all over again. It was just a repetitive thing of torture, nonstop, And I saw that kind of same theme all over, but it was so indescribable what they were doing to people. They have all kind of, like I was saying, ancient. Everything looked rusty and old. Spears, like hooks. Things with hooks on them with chains, and they would take people and they would put these hook things in people's mouths, and then they would rip their whole heads backwards.
You can't make this shit up, dude. You can't make it up.
And you can still hear the person screaming, and then yet, when they would rip the flesh off and rip the people, I saw a lot of this. And then I started to notice, when I was looking at the people getting tortured, I instantaneously knew, I knew for sure why they were there, which sent them to hell. Okay, because we all sin on the spectrum.
Can you give us some examples
of the sins or why? Oh yes, sure. Like for example, and for some reason, there was a lot of, I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm just telling what I saw, my experience. I saw a lot of women there. Honestly, I saw a lot of women there more than men. In my personal experience. Not saying that means anything. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm only speaking what God told me to speak and what I saw. And I'm going to tell the truth. I saw this one woman, for example, it was like a table. It was a wooden table. And they had people already on the table, but they had their tongues stapled and these big, big nails. And they were taking their tongues, and their tongues looked very elongated, a little longer than what you hear on earth. And they were hammering them into the table. And I knew instantly those people who had their tongues, dang, they were banging them to the table, and they were screaming and crying. It's like the noises, you can feel it. I can still remember, it's just horrifying. But they were banging their tongues into the table, and liars, gossiping. See, it corresponds. They were there for gossiping and lying. So it seems like in the spirit realm, with more of your sin is pronounced in your existence, your torture and punishment will correspond to your outstanding sin. That's the thing.
See, this is like when I watched this, it made me think about just me macing that dude and all of the bad things that I've done to people, and just IP2 in general, just kind of like the bad energy and just, just a negative place, like you go on the forum and people are, talking, just putting each other down and saying horrible things about each other. And for whatever reason, this video just like woke me up, and it's like, man, I don't want to be lame to anyone anymore, and I don't want to like contribute to anything that would, because your judgment day is gonna come. And I've been watching these other videos about people who are like atheists, and then they had these like near-death experiences, and they died, and they experienced what, like, if you go on YouTube, you can see people describe hell and their near-death experiences, and they're all like what he said, where like people like would get their arms ripped off and they'd grow back. Like, I've watched 3 different videos of people describe that same thing, and it's just weird that some people will say, oh, it's just like your chemicals in your brain when you die, and you da-da-da-da, but it's like, how do all these people have like similar experiences? It's wild.
That I started to realize, because like I said before, we all sin on a wide spectrum, but some people's sins, some specialize in lust, right? Some people lust more. Some people are addiction, right? Some people are murderers. It corresponds to the sin that really sticks out as your characteristic attribute at that point, okay? That makes sense? Okay,
like look at his eyes. Look at that. That's like he's seen, those eyes have seen stuff. That's not a dude that's lying to you. That's a dude who's really trying to reach out to you. I recognize real. That guy, this is a real ass dude.
For example, I saw people who drink alcohol. They were making them drink lava. The people who were drinking, alcoholics, were drinking lava.
Alcohol's so bad. I hate it so much, dude. I hate it.
Literally, as soon as they drink it, they all melt. And then the demons would come with buckets and just pouring it. Some of them were just laughing so much, they would just pour the whole bucket of lava on them. And they would melt, and they were just like, and you could smell the flesh. I mean, that's the weirdest thing, because there's no flesh that exists there. But in the spirit realm, it seems like it replicates the flesh. It replicates, some people still have flesh on them. That is the weirdest part to me. The smell, everything. And that's why I want people to just be aware. It's not a fairy tale. Okay, I saw the sexual people who love lust, people who were like pastors, women who were promiscuous. Like I stated before, because I couldn't say it, I'm going to keep it as much as I can. I'm not going to go too far into detail, but I saw demons raping this one woman, okay, and what they were doing to her. Every it is so grotesque. They were all raping her at the same time. Okay, and they were ripping her apart, ripping her.
Great.
And when they do that, flip her over, and they were just doing all kind of things, that you can see the worst graphic movie and just be like, that is nasty. But no, the stuff that they were doing to this lady, and torturing her. And then they were stringing, they had a lot of ladies already, like they had them in line on these poles, these like wooden posts, just lined up, and they'd snatch them off. One time this lady, I saw the demon came and snatched her off. Part of her arm and stuff was still stuck and hanging on the pole. They just snatched her off, and it's like dungeons. See, like I'm going to explain. In hell, there's different compartments. And there's different tunnels. There's different parts of hell, and they have a lot of rooms or tombs or how to describe it, like tomb areas or like little cavern areas. And each cavern area has its own sets of tortures in these things, okay? I saw all types of torture, and then if you go further, like from the pit, on each side were these tombs, but on each side were the tombs, but in the middle were the pits, where all the lava and the people were in the pits. Now, if you were to go to the sides, on the sides, into one of these, you can just observe the tortures in each room. And in each of those rooms, they had many people waiting, like it was their turn. But while they was waiting their turn, I didn't even mention the insects yet that were there, that were crawling all over the place. And you couldn't see him at first. I couldn't see him at first because the light, every so often, you can see. That's the last thing I was thinking about, was looking down. But when I did, because I felt my legs getting bit up, and it was these worms. These things were so thick, like a soda can thickness. Okay, they were maggots, but they were thick. But then they would go in, and some of them were smaller, but the smaller ones would go inside you. Okay, they were inside my legs, and they were eating my legs from the inside out. Okay, you know, when I say like the pain, and when I'm thinking about too, and I praise the Lord that He had to minimize my pain, because there is no way I didn't feel the full thrust of it. That's impossible, because the way they were coming in and out of my legs, and they reached up to my knees, it was just full of worms. They just all of a sudden just take. Then I felt the gripping hand on my head. One of the demons grabbed me, and he threw me so far. These things are strong, by the way. These things are, it's got to be a supernatural. Obviously, it's supernatural, but these things are power. We wouldn't be able to fight them if we tried. I'm just telling you right now. There's nothing we can do to these things. Okay. Well, as he flung me, he flew, and as I flew, I was by one of the tombs, and that's what I saw. These things, like I saw a lot of pastors. That was the scariest part to me, because even when I was out on the streets doing my criminal life, I always looked up to pastors somewhat to say, okay, these guys are set apart. They live a clean life. You would think so. Priests, pastors, deacons. There were a lot of them. And they were still dressed in their suits. They still look, just like you have on a shirt and tie. They still look very professional and a lot of them were in lines, just in rows, just waiting. Like a lot of people in here are just waiting for their torture. Okay? And a lot of these pastors do not understand that when you follow a decree with the Lord, you have a lot of people and souls in your life that really look up to you and follow you. You have to really obey that as much as possible, because you're here.
Like all of those, I forget what sect it is, but like those pastors that say, oh, you have to donate like $1,000 to me, and like, I forget what it is. What's that one scammy like sect of Christianity? Shouldn't be called Christianity, but it's like you have the mega churches and all these people. Like, yeah, I believe all of those guys that like go into like just kind of use the word of the Lord to like become rich, and like what they say, like only the meek shall inherit the earth, and like a rich man like trying to get Mormons, yeah, that too, but there's another one. Fuck, they're like the evangelists, Mormon, yeah. A lot of different false prophets, but evangelists, yeah, those guys are definitely in hell. Because, yeah, they're like, oh, give me $1,000 and you'll get what, it's just a scam. They're just using, that's like blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
To a higher standard. And also in hell, you get tortured the worst. Okay? Because you were once the biggest opposition that maybe saved some lives that took them away from hell. So if you end up messing up and you get there yourself, the torture they have for them Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The things that I saw when they were stripping them off, they were messing with their genitalia, they were cutting off. I mean, it is very grotesque what they were doing. They were taking spears and putting them up, the backside through the spears. It was kind of like when I did some research, and I didn't even know they used to do this. I forgot what ancient civilization. I think his name was Dracula. Dracula, the real Dracula, we used to take his enemies. He'd take the spear and put it under the area and put it through and put his enemies like on a stick, like a shish kebab, like pretty much. They were making them into human shish kebabs and putting like 3 or 4 pastors on a pole on a stick and putting them in hell and parading them through hell. Like it's just like I saw this one time, this one pastor, people were just dancing, laughing around him, putting spears inside. It is just beyond comprehension. It is beyond comprehension. And the thing is, after a while, when I'm seeing all the tortures, and I know that the Lord had to be with me, is because every time I'm beyond terrified of one part, I would go to another part of it, and I feel that same. It's a suction. It's like he was moving me to see another part, and then another part. But I went to this one section of hell, like I described before. It felt like the ground was alive. It felt like the floor was in waves. It was moving. It was just like a burst of energy, like a tidal wave or a tsunami would come, but the whole ground itself would move. And it was just like pulsating. But then when I looked in the center, there was a huge pit. And I looked, and it was like dark shadows, pitch darker, like the darkness that I fell into when I first came into hell. They were dark, just like that, but they were going up, going up, going up, some of them coming down, going up, coming down. And I already knew what that was. Those were the demons that were given assignments to come, monitoring spirits, familiar spirits, spirits of pain, spirits of anxiety, depression, spirits of addiction. They had get their orders from the pit, and they would go into earth. They had assignments. They have assignments. Hell is highly organized too, by the way, very organized. But yeah. So as I'm at the center of it, and these things are going up and down, but I looked to the right, and that's when I saw it was like rows and rows of old cells. And it was like, I grew up in Chicago, and I grew up in skyscrapers. I grew up in the high-rise buildings. It reminded me of high-rise buildings full of cells, old bars, the ancient-looking, cells and rocks. And that's one thing the Lord put in my heart. Instantly, I knew I was inside the earth. I was here on earth, but it was another dimension here on earth. It's hard to describe that, but I want people just to do as much research as you can. It was a different dimension, but yet I was still here in the earth. I knew I was inside the earth. But these jail cells, these were where the ancient people were. People who were there for like thousands of years. Because when I looked, and you can see, people still had the old garment, and you knew these people were studying witchcraft. You knew these people, or it was like they were in these bars of the people who specialize in witchcraft or sorcery. Or all types of things, and it was ancient. It was an ancientness. You just know these people been there for thousands of years. And the biggest regret that I knew when I was there is time. It doesn't, it's hard to even explain here. It doesn't exist. It's okay, if a person goes to jail and they're given a sentence by a judge, they at least have some hope in the back of their mind. Because time will go past, they have a release date. So that gives them a glimmer of hope. Let me get through my sentence. I can get out. When you're there, no. You know this is it. There is no time to gauge for you to be able to get out. It's set. And that's the biggest fear that I had when I was looking at these bars, because I said, wow, these people's been, you just know they've been here for thousands of years. They've been there for a long time. Now, as I look in there, some of them were being tortured by little demons. Some of them are very small, too, by the way. That was kind of weird. Some demons are very, very small, like this big. But then some of them are like 5'5", our height, a basic human height, 5'10". But it was the smaller ones that would eat and just rip. They were ripping these people apart in there, and they were praying. They were praying to the same gods or demons that they were worshiping to get them out of there. You had a lot of them. I saw a lot of people had ceremony. They had candles in there. I don't know how that was projected. It was a projection of their spirit that made these things happen. But each cell had different things. You had furniture in some of the cells, and some of the people was just so trapped and engulfed, like they were in their own illusion. Each cell was like they were trapped in their own delusion or their own matrix, so to speak, that they were going through. You know, it's kind of hard to describe, but it was torture. It was no relaxation. It was nothing peaceful about it at all. Nothing peaceful. But as far, and then I looked up, it went as far up. It was, you know, because I lived in buildings that before that were 25 stories high, higher than that, built into the side of this like mountain, but they were so high, and it was just, had to be thousands of these cells in there. And I already knew that it had to do something with being ancient in witchcraft, worshiping spirits, worshiping principalities. Okay. Now, as I'm looking up, I noticed that there were, and so it's like I was being guided. So I looked this way, and I was close to the pit. Now, as by the pit, all of a sudden, these it was rocks coming out of the pit, and they were so hot. They were turning white. They like piping hot, orange, white. And they start plopping out. But then you can tell something was coming out of the pit. See, it's a lot of details that I want to say, but it's so grotesque about the things. The pit was containing something. There are demons that are locked in hell that are worse than Lucifer. Okay? I'm going to make this clear. There are demons.
So I just want to say, when you lie or when you're creating new things, you like look to the right because you're creating new information, like you're fabricating stuff. So you're looking to your like right brain, which is like your creative side. You look to the right, look at this guy's eyes straight ahead, dude. He saw what he's saying he experienced.
Demons that are locked in hell that are worse than Lucifer, that have had the chance to be us to experience here on the earth, because if so, civilization as we know it wouldn't exist. Okay? There are things, and I want people, and over the years as I've done my research, come to find out they are demons and forces that are still chained, and unfortunately that will be released. But just to hear the roar, and it was kicking up these hot coals and rocks, and the demons would come and they would drag the people with these hot coals and rocks, and they was stomping in their face. And it was just, you can hear the muffle, and it was just, they would just melt their whole face off. Like, the torture there feeds these demons. So the more grotesque they can torture you, the more power that they get. They get food off of it. They get high off torturing. They get high off your misery and pain there. That is their food. So they get very creative in torturing you, and it is no negotiation. I hear a lot of, please stop. I hear a lot of, regret. I hear a lot of just. These demons are laughing and having fun. They are having fun. And another thing that I kept hearing, okay, see, they speak in a different language, but it hurts your soul. When they speak to each other, it's a different, but you can interpret it. Don't matter what race or what language that you speak. But when they speak to each other and they're laughing, you can clearly hear and understand what they're saying. Okay? And a lot of them were laughing and just calling us stupid. They were laughing and calling us stupid, naive, ignorant, basic. Like, they would, the name that they call us, but it was in their language, but you can still understand it. But when they speak, it hurts you. It feels, you can feel the pain. That's why I do not like the curse. That's why it's called a curse word. See, all of that stuff comes from hell, and people need to realize this. We have been born into a spiritual war. And a lot of things that we think that are small really are huge.
Real.
Okay? A lot of these things come from hell. Just like I noticed the way some of these things were walking, okay, they're very deformed. Some of these demons are so grotesque. Hollywood can't do them justice. Hollywood can't replicate the way some of these things look, the way they feel, smell, talk, sound. And some of them walk, their legs are so deformed. Like, some of them look like animal hybrid type things, but their legs are twisted sideways. Some of them don't have regular legs. Some of their legs are so backwards with the forward abdomen, but their legs, like the bottom of the buttocks is in front of them, right? So when they walk, it looks very creepy. It looks weird, And I noticed some of these dances that these people do, these modern dances that they do these days, that's how they walk. A lot of it's hard to explain. I noticed, that's why I said this has to come from hell. When I catch a glimpse of a certain video or look at certain people, the way they move and dance, that's the same way some of these demonic things walk and glide around. It is creepy. It is beyond explanation. But further, as I'm by the pit and I'm seeing these things get smashed and I'm hearing this, I didn't even see it. You don't have to see it. The growls of this thing, first of all, it was huge. It was big, but it was powerful. And it was just angry, like it wants to get out. It was just so angry in the roars of these things. And they come, and it was kicking up rocks. And for these demons to come, and they're dragging people, stuffing these hot, cold stones, piping hot stones in people's faces, and they were just laughing. So as I look down, once again, I get sucked up, and it's a river, but it's lava, and it flows all through. And from what I know now, it flows, it's like a river in hell. It's a river in hell that flows all through, and it goes through. And there are boatloads of people with the current, riding this current in hell, okay? But when I saw them, those are the ones that had the skeletal look, with different, and they were all just bunched up together. It's kind of hard to explain. They wasn't just in a single file line. There was some of them 3 or 4 in a line, 3, 2, and they were just clumped up, and they were just screaming. It's kind of weird to hear a skeleton talk normal, scream normal. So it's like, I don't know if I was unable to see the flesh or whatever, but they were pure burnt skeletons, talking, screaming, full of regret. That's the one thing I want to let people know. Take care of everything you have to take care of now, because in hell, the most thing I was hearing was regret. That some people were asking for a minute to be back on earth, 5 minutes. Can I, just give me one more chance. I want to repair my relationship, like type things. Or I want to do it right this time, please. That's all you hear. That's all you hear is regret. That's it. And the regret and the pain is so bad just to hear the regret. It hurts. People don't understand how much damage we do with our words. How much damage we do when we condemn someone. And it really hurts, and these people were screaming and screaming, just one more chance, please, and they're floating past. But then the river of lava started to speed up, and it's like, and it started coming so fast, and more, you just see more and more, and you just hear the voices, and they start going past, they're going past. Instantly, I knew what these people were the ones, after they got tortured, fornicators, okay? Fornicators. And I saw the torture of the promiscuous women and stuff getting out. These is all fornicators. These is the whole river. It was a whole lava river flowing through hell with these people who just fornicate, people who cheated on their spouses, people who debate, people who watch porn, right? People who prey on little children, okay? It was like they paraded them, and it flows through hell. It's like a parade of these misfits that just flow through hell. All right, and let's just say it's a lot more that I would want to describe in detail, especially what they were doing with these the two. Just like there's.
If you're watching this, you were meant to see this.
Also, a compartment that I was at in hell, where it is so bad because it's for people who racism. Okay, they have everything there. Okay, people who are racist. Okay, they have something special for them. It's like a whole amusement park created for the people who are racist, okay? Because racism is it's an illusion.
I believe it.
It's a curse. It's to keep us divided, and it weakens mankind.
Yep.
So then, therefore, the demons can also separate us and take us over. Like, it's deep. But I want to tell you what I saw. You saw these people, and it was like a group of people, and they had flesh, they had clothes on, but they were just sitting. They was looking sad. They wasn't saying anything. But they were kind of talking and mumbling something to themselves. And it had to be, they was in groups, probably of 100 here, hundreds. They were in perfect groups. Like, it's hard to explain, sitting on these rocks. And they were sitting there, and then all of a sudden, you can feel it. Then all of a sudden, these big hot coals, once again, just come and smash the whole group. It just falls down.
I believe I was like really depressed this evening, and I was like just like feeling really down and out, and then this video was recommended to me and I watched it, and I'm like, it fucking I try not to curse, it calibrated me. Look, got a new outlook now. This guy's a boss.
And you can still hear the and then another one, boom, and just smashing these groups. And all of a sudden, the rocks, they would crumble up and nothing would happen. They would still be reformed and still sitting there. It's just hard to explain these things. It's hard to even put them in words. But one thing, like I told you, there was a theme to the sins. There is a theme to it. The one that sticks out the most, the sin that you're doing the most, that sticks out, that you're addicted to doing, consciously and subconsciously, that's going to be the realm of your torture. That's going to be the most important part of hell that you will be in to experience that torture.
If you don't mind sharing, what was your sin and what was your specific torture for it?
Yes. Okay. Great question. My sin was alcoholism and violence. Okay? Drinking made me feel normal. Okay? And violence, to me, they go hand in hand. When you drink, they bring out emotions in you. So what I got, okay, was not only, like I saw the people who were the alcoholics who were getting lava and stuff poured on them, and they were drinking. The first thing, besides the worms, and thank the Lord, like I just know now that he was really sparing me from a lot. I think he gave me the tool so I can come back and save souls because, or point them to his direction. But what I received there was they ripped my mouth open. See, that's the part, a lot of stuff that I didn't want to explain in the detail in the other show. They ripped my mouth open, okay? They took my tongue, and the first thing they did, they started to pour the hot lava. Let me tell you, you all, I don't know if you ever burnt your mouth on a hot cup of coffee, tea, nothing. That is nothing compared to having hot lava poured down your mouth. It is so hot where it gets numb, okay? It gets numb. They pull my mouth back. First of all, all of this ripped off. They don't just open your mouth. They over-exaggerate it. They pull my head back. They open my mouth. And I can't scream. I can't do anything. But then one demon grabbed my tongue out, and they poured this hot lava down me. And I know it was the Lord because I didn't feel the full extent of that. There is no way. But as the hot lava, I can feel myself getting stabbed as the hot lava simultaneously was coming down my throat. Now, the weirdest part was I didn't even feel myself when I was watching people how they rejuvenate and their limbs grow back and they come back. I don't know if it happened so fast, but I didn't experience the feeling of rejuvenation or anything. I didn't experience none of that. All I was so focused on is the pain. And then it felt like all of a sudden it was so... Listen, the pain is spiritual, okay? The pain you experience in hell is nothing like here. Because just say, for example, if I was to touch your hand or stick your knife in your hand, right? You wouldn't feel it just in your hand. You feel it through your whole body at the same time. You don't feel it just in one little area where your nerves pick up the senses of pain. It doesn't work like that. You pick it up simultaneously through your whole body. So not only was the lava, I could feel it through my mouth, I could feel it on my toes, I could feel it through my hands, the heat, the same burning sensation all over. That's the closest I can get to it to explain that. But then, like, when I got stabbed with the spear, I knew it came through my side, but yet I felt it from my head to my feet. See, it's a lot of things. That's why I asked the Lord if he can give me the best way to describe it. But there's some words and some descriptive words that don't even, you can't even, no matter what language you speak, it's hard to describe because it's spiritual. It's a different fabric. But I know instantly, because of my alcoholism, it was a reflex of my actions, of what I did to so many people. Because if I wasn't drinking alcohol, it wouldn't have motivated or enticed me to do the things that I was doing.
Yep.
Okay, so my tortures were getting really brutally, ear ripped off. I remember my ear getting ripped off. I remember my nose getting ripped off. I remember these little demons eating me. Okay, and like I told you, those little ones, I'm not trying to joke about it, But the little demons in hell cause the most torture and the most pain ever. It's the literal ones. They have the most rage, the most hate.
Yeah.
My bad.
You know, I'm not trying to minimize anyone's experience. I'm not trying to minimize anyone's painful physical experience. But there is nothing that can come close to the pain that you feel when you're out in your spirit, you're out of your physical body, and you experience pain on a spiritual level. It's not even the same. My torture was based off my alcoholism and my anger and my rage, and also unforgiveness. And I know right now, just like I say, hindsight looking back, it was the Lord who was with me, because I did not experience an aorta of what the people that I saw in hell experienced. Literally. But he put me through something. I went through, and there's nothing on earth that can mimic that. There's nothing on earth that can, nothing. I don't care. You know, I'm not trying to minimize anyone's experience. I'm not trying to minimize anyone's painful physical experience, but there is nothing that can come close to the pain that you feel when you're out in your spirit, you're out of your physical body, and you experience pain on a spiritual level. It's not even the same texture. It's not even on the same, you can't even compare them. You know, so I'm just trying to use words here in a physical form to try my best to explain.
Why do you think the demons hate us so much?
Because, great question. Because we have God in us. We're made, and literally it says in the scriptures, we're made in his image. They're not talking about the physical image, they're talking about the spiritual component to it. We all have the light of God in us. Whether if we abuse it or not, we all have fragments of him in us. All of us do, and they can't stand that. So it's like this, they know they can't get him, right? So it's just like if somebody didn't like me, right? And I have children, they can't get to me because they're not stronger than me, they're not faster or smarter, but my children are not as fast, not as strong, right? So in order to hurt my feelings or hurt me, they will hurt my children to hurt me indirectly.
True.
So what they do is specialize and focus on hurting us, the children of God, his creation, and we have a resemblance, and it irritates them, first of all, especially those who have some kind of compassion in them. Because even though you sin, you still have some good parts in you.
Mm-hmm.
You still have some resemblance of the Lord and God in you.
Yeah.
And it makes them go crazy. Just like some people can't even utter Jesus' name in hell. See, I have a lot of people who say, that's how I know if their stories are authentic or not, who say they were in hell and they were screaming out Jesus, they were screaming out Jesus' name. Well, that's kind of hard, because when I tried to do it, me personally, you can scream anything else. You can scream anything else, but you try to utter his name, it's like this, your mouth gets so heavy. No word is like, you can't. They make it kind of impossible, because they know if you're able to say that name, you're going to get some help. But they make it kind of impossible. But to answer your question, is because we have the fragments of the Father and our Lord, and they can't stand them inside of us. So they try to torture us to get back at the Father. Period.
All right, so you went through a certain amount of torture.
Yes.
How did you get out?
Okay, that's what I want to explain. Okay, I was taken to this place, and it was like a cliff. Okay? There was a cliff. And it looked like a desolate forest. It looked like trees. Everything was gray. It's like twilight, but it was dark. But you can still see. But it was a path. But we were on this cliff, and I'm looking down at this There was no leaves on these trees. These trees look creepy. They look eerie too, by the way. They were just like gray, desolate forest. But then that's when I looked up, and that's what really, really blew my mind. All of the part that I was in on all the torture and the pits and like the cells that look like skyscrapers built inside the mountain. I'm gonna call it, that wasn't even the real hell. That was pre-hell. See?
Look at those eyes, dude. That's a genuine soul. That dude is trying to reach out to you. That's not a dude. That's not a schizophrenic crazy person. That's a real dude.
That's the part that still gets me to this day, because when I looked at the path of the trees and I looked, it was these gates. The gates have to be 80 feet tall, and you can see through the gates, and it was just a horrible looking castle, like very ancient looking city, castle-like city. And instantly, and there was people standing next to me on this cliff as we looked, and I knew that is the real hell. That is, if you enter those gates, that's the point of no return. So I can't imagine, because I didn't even make it past those gates. I'm going to explain the path that was there. And as you know, we look down, and see, that's one thing. Your vision is like zoom. You got the best zoom lens, like in the spirit body. You can zoom on something, and you can see everything, hear everything way, way better than you are here. We looked and we saw people in chains. All male, female, all races, all ages. They were chained together, and they were walking on that path towards that gate, and they were chained. But as they looked up, okay, see, a lot of people asked before. I'm gonna explain everything real fast. One thing I did notice, there was no communication amongst people in hell. There was no fellowship, right? And I think that the Lord made this happen so I was able to hear the warnings and the cries of people's hearts, because those people that were going on that path, that were heading to the real hell, they were looking up at everybody who was standing next to us, because I could not talk to nobody who was next to me. But those people down there were looking up, telling us, don't come here. They saw us standing on those cliffs. They were screaming up, and people were sitting, and I saw the people's reaction were like trying to talk back down to those people, but they couldn't talk to each other. It was weird. But the people who were in that line, you got to be thousands of people, and they were all chained together, and they were walking, being led by this little demon in front. There was demons on the side of them, and they were walking them towards that path, towards those gates. And they were screaming to everybody, don't come here, please. And just all types of messages are pretty much saying, don't come, please don't come. So as I'm looking down, and I'm just baffled, first of all, at looking at the gates of the real hell. It looks distant away, but looking at those real gates and looking, it blew my mind. I said, wait a minute, all of that torture, that is beyond my comprehension? This is a part of hell, but it wasn't the final conclusion. It wasn't I wasn't finalized. Okay? And all I know is I looked, and as I look up, it's rocks, and there's a big dome, and all of a sudden I got sucked up. But just for a split second, I just want to tell everyone this. That split thousandths of a millisecond, if I put it in time frame, because time doesn't exist there, I felt the Lord had to have grabbed me and sucked me out. Just a brief, I experienced more love, more freedom, more power than anything. Just the remnants of the Lord is more powerful than anything that you could describe. Any feeling, anything. And it was just so, as I'm going, and I could feel myself go up, and then I got slammed back down. And when I got slammed back down, I was in a hospital. Now, this is the crazy part. When I got slammed back in, I felt disgusting. I literally felt like I was wearing my body. Okay? Like I try to describe it to people. The best way to describe it is if you put on like 5 layers of clothes and get them wet in cold water and put them on.
Wow.
You just feel wet, heavy. I felt heavy. It took me like a week and a half to 2 weeks to I felt disgusting. I literally felt out of place, like I was wearing my body. I felt like I was wearing my body.
That's a trip.
Okay, but when I came and I slammed back to, the nurse looked, but look, she runs out. So I start freaking out because I'm starting to move because she runs out screaming, and then this alarm goes off and the people come flooding in the room and they're touching, grabbing me, and I'm just like, wait, like, it happened so simultaneously. That's like the same way I died, the same way when I came back. It happened so fast. I didn't know. I was just fresh out of hell. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know. It was just so fast. People don't understand. It's not a big ceremony. I didn't experience no ceremony where I walked into the judgment and got judged and he told me this. That may happen, but it didn't happen to me. It was instantaneous. It was bing, boom, the same way. Just like when I woke up and I was in the hospital and everybody's running around, and I am just so terrified at this point because I can still smell the sulfur. Just like even to this moment, to this day, I can't stand the smell of any sulfuric smells, any matches. Tremendous PTSD. I can't do it.
Wow.
I can't, because it instantly takes me there. It's like even describing the story, I kind of pause a little bit because it's emotional. It is traumatizing, beyond traumatizing.
Wow.
I do not want to go back there.
No.
I do not, and I don't wish that upon or for anyone.
No.
For anyone. That's why I'm back with an approach of spiritual warfare. I want people to know what they really facing. Okay? Of course, our own flesh does these things to us. We follow our own flesh, but there's something behind the scenes that's manipulating us, people. There's something behind the scenes that are forcing you. They don't have the authority to make you do anything, but what they can do is tease you and make things look so appetizing and so good and tempting you. They're experts at that. We're babies compared to them. Mm-hmm. The ancientness that I felt there, these things are beyond time. They've been here before us. Okay, so they definitely have an advantage over us when it comes to wisdom. Very smart, very cunning, but I do want people to start taking accountability for their own actions.
Yep.
I'm not going to blame everything on demonic behavior because we have a choice.
Yeah.
But they do influence a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always explain, like if I was on a diet, they would take you to a buffet on purpose. They can't force the food down your...
Yeah, that's always happens to me whenever I get closer to God. Things will start coming in my path. Like someone will try to give me free drugs or like things that'll never happen before, like ever. Like whenever this has happened like numerous times in my life, or whenever I stop trying to drink or do something, try to cut something out of my life, it'll be presented to me. It's a trip.
Throat, but they make sure you smell it. They're like, hey, pass the plate in front of your face, knowing that you can't eat oil, but knowing if you're on a fast. They're great tempters. Yeah, they're great tempters. They're great manipulators. And my experience in hell, like I say, I so many more details, but it's so grotesque. I don't know which audience. I don't want to offend any audiences. I don't know how, the age group. I don't want to do that. It is, especially on the sexual parts of hell. It is kind of hard to explain because I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to, I just want to get the message out that hell is real. We need to watch what we do. Entertainment is not just entertainment. Nothing is innocent in this world when you just say, they got a little devil on TV. It's just entertainment. It's just a cartoon. Well, the word entertain means enter-containment. You enter, it enters you in.
Yeah, bro, I believe that completely. The truth is stranger than fiction. People have seen crazy things in this world, things that you wouldn't even believe, and there's really wild stuff out there. And that's what I think that I saw a comment on IP2 one time that IP2 is like a demonic energy harvesting sorry, I'm trying not to curse. It's a demonic energy harvesting site. Like they use the negativity on that site too, it like feeds demons. It's because if you look at, you know, the older I get, the more that I look at that website, I realize how, you know, it's bad. You know, people on that site, they just want to watch me ruin my life. They want to watch me get arrested. They want to make fun of me. They want to put me down, call me all these names. It's not a place that wants to lift you up and build you up, and they want to destroy you. They want to ruin your life. That's why they call the CX effect, because it's a curse. It's horrible things happen to all these streamers because it's like a demonic energy. It's like a curse that you walk into, and and these people, I don't think it's conscious with a lot of people, but, you know, a lot of people, you know, drug addicts and adulterers and just people who, you know, that's why doxing is so bad on IP2, because these people are just, they live with so much, like, everyone who's, not everyone, but a lot of people on that site have a lot in common with just the hate in their hearts. And the more that I grow spiritually, the more that I realize that I don't vibe with these people, and I don't want this to be my legacy, because I believe everything this guy is saying, and I believe that a lot of people on IP2, they're going to unfortunately experience everything this guy is talking about, and I hope that I can save some people from that, because think about it. If this guy's right, then this guy is he's warning us, and this is a blessing that we're able to heed this warning. You know, like, it's just like atheism is like, okay, you don't believe, like, the pitfalls of atheism are like, it's just, yeah, I don't know, it's really a sad thought to look at all of this, like, love, you know, and beauty in the world, and think that there's nothing divine about it, and it's just a science experiment. Like, it's just such a sad thought. But anyway, let's get back to it.
Contains you. You're opening portals. That's why the Lord told us to protect our gates, our eyes and our ears. We gotta watch what we watch. We gotta start watching what we're listening to. We have to pay attention and really be on guard, because we open portals every day to these things in our home, in our car, in our jobs, everywhere we at. We're opening portals just by the simplest things, thinking it's just, it's harmless. But it's the most harmful things. Lucifer always comes. He everything comes in a pretty package. It always comes in an enticing, pretty package. It reminds me of candy. Candy's good for you. No, it's not. If I eat a lot of candy right now, and it tastes great, but just check on me in a year. If I just eat a year worth of candy, no other nutrients, nothing else but candy, I'm not going to be in good shape.
Nope.
Why were the nurses so shocked when you woke up?
Great question.
Because I was medically dead for 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Holy shit, dude. Holy shit.
And what I learned, I was gone. They pretty much just like, yo, they kept working on me, but I had passed away. So that's why they were already getting, they already started to learn. A couple of my friends that were there, they told them already that pretty much, like, hey,
he's gone. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. So that's why they were shocked. So now I realize it, because when I first, her energy scared me, the way she jumped, in the way, because I saw a whole bunch of carts and things. It just didn't look right. It was like they kind of just were wrapping stuff up, pretty much. I didn't have any IVs in me. I didn't have any of those things. But so they pretty much rid me off.
Feel like this dude's done.
Yeah, at that point.
Who were the beings that are working behind the scenes to tempt us?
Sure. Great question. Hell, like I said before, is high.
Just look at, yeah, me too, man. And it's hard, because, they call it a curse word for a reason. If you think about it, the greatest trick the devil played was making people believe that he didn't exist, that there weren't pitfalls to anything you say or anything that you do, and you can live a hedonistic life, and you can cheat on people, and you can lie to people, and you can gossip, and you can do all this, and there's no pitfalls from it. You know, the ancient Egyptians, like I said, they put your heart on a scale next to a feather, and if your heart, you know, weighs more than the feather, then you go to like the eternal, you know, hell. And it, like, people, you know, people that's like they want to steer you into that, and people who are led by these vices, they'll be like, oh, this is all phony, this is all baloney, like, you really believe this, you know, and then, you know, whenever I start getting closer to the Lord, people in my life will be like, oh yeah, well, they'll like try to change my beliefs, and I never understood that as a Christian. Like, other religions, have you ever noticed, like, Muslims will try so hard to change your religion? Like, for some reason, they are hell-bent on changing your religion, and it's weird to me, because for me, hey, you believe what you want to believe, man, like that. But for them, they have this, oh, they do not want you to believe in this. And every other religion's just constantly like ridiculing Christ, and constantly, there's no other God that gets put down more than Jesus. There's no other God, and that's what makes me think that it's the truth, because it gets ridiculed so much, and so many people come after it.
Highly organized, okay? There are demons and rankings assigned for everything. The things that you think are just small things, there are demons behind the scenes. You have demons for anxiety, depression, addiction, rage, lust, okay? I was explaining to someone, even when you bite your fingernails, people don't understand. That is an anxiety reflex.
I gotta stop doing that.
That's also demonic. It comes from demons. Okay? People don't understand. And there are 9 principalities. And I don't even like to say their names, because in Santeria, they worship these 9 principalities.
And if you know the rapper Skrilla, he's a rapper that's coming up. He practices Santeria, and it's devil worshiping. And he's coming up. He's about to do his first tour, and they sacrifice animals, and it's really dark. And he's like a proud junkie, and he is a demon in the flesh.
9, and under those 9, each one has their generals, and under the generals they have captains, right? Under the captains they have their subservients and their soldiers, and they all have orders. They all have groups. There's a group that really we need to look out for in these last days. They are monitoring spirits. They're very important to hell, because they monitor you.
Yep.
Okay, even from the day that you're born, you're assigned a monitoring spirit or spirits. A lot of them run in gang. They're like a gang. Honestly, I know how that works, because I was in one. They're never by themselves. They're never alone. That's why you think you get over one problem and you have another problem. You get over that problem and you still have this problem. It's because they run in packs to make sure they bring you down, so you can be sinning to the day of your death. Okay? But they are, a lot of them, there's another thing that I learned too. Lucifer and Satan are 2 different beings. They're not the same. I always thought Lucifer's nickname was Satan, and Satan, no. Lucifer is the one who's giving all the orders. Satan is his underling. Satan would be the underboss, put it that way, okay? And Beelzebub is the one who's in charge of running the dominion of the 9 principalities. They're all original fallen angels. I want you guys to do your own research in the book of Enoch. That's why it was taken out of the scriptures. Please, the book of Enoch explains the whole...
If anyone in chat knows about the Book of Enoch, please let me know. It's the first time hearing about it. How do I read it? What? If anyone knows about that, please chime in.
200, okay? It was originally 200 of them that came here, but there's only 9 in power, with Lucifer at the top. And the other 200 are like the rest of them are like the generals. They come up with ways for us to sin. Okay, just like you have pharmakia. I used to wonder that. I was like, who was the first guy to ever walk past and say, this is marijuana? Or whoever was the first guy to say, let me take these plants and this and create cocaine. How do they know these things? Because it didn't come from us. It came from demonic forces. It came from demons.
Interesting.
They're very smart. So we have so many principalities. Yes. So please, people, I would encourage you to read the book of Enoch. That will give you more further ways. And he's very accurate when he described them.
Okay.
So could you say that, one, demons hate us, and two,
Yes.
demons need us to sin so that we can feel pain because that's their food?
Yep.
Exactly. They literally thrive off of us. That is their food. We are their food. Why you think, it reminds me of people, and that's why the Lord says he doesn't hate the sinner, but he hates the sin. Have you ever been feeling good one day? Feeling full of, you wake up, you're full of life and just promise and that ambitious that day, but you go hang around someone's house or go to someone's home. By the time you leave there, you're just drained.
Yes.
Your ambition's gone, your joy is gone.
Yes.
Because they sucked your energy.
Yeah.
They sucked your energy out. And 9 times out of 10 is one of their demons they have around them that sucks your energy out.
Oh my God.
That's their food. Your happiness, that is life, your life force.
Goodness.
They need that. That's why they have a lot of, unfortunately, and I always pray for the children, okay? Children have the most purest and the most strongest sense of the life force that they need to feed upon because of the purity of it. The more pure you are, the more powerful the life force and the light of the Lord that you have in you, okay?
Wow.
So that's why they love to take children's innocence, mentally, spiritually, sexually, any way they can, because that's food for them.
That's why I believe that there should be automatic, unalived. If you take the innocence of a child, do not pass go, no $200, you're done, dude. You're behind the barn. That's it.
So that's why you got to protect the way you feel. You have to do everything about your ways. That's why he gave us these instructions, because he knew what we're facing and who we're facing. That's why I want everybody to be very aware. It's not you all the time. A lot of these things, a lot of these doctors just throw pills, prescription pills at people. How can a pill fix a spiritual problem?
I can't.
A lot of these people are going through spiritual warfare. There is no medication that can fix a demonic influence in your household or inside your mind.
Wow.
So that's why we gotta have discernment to be able to distinguish between. Because there are, biochemical issues, of course, in the brain. Not disputing that. There are physical medical problems. But I promise you, a lot of these have been mistaken because they don't put the spiritual component to it, and these people are still suffering, no matter how much therapy they have. Psychiatrists, no matter, they're still suffering because they're not touching the spiritual aspects of it. And I bet you a lot of the time there is a spirit behind people's anxiety. And these spirits don't want to leave because they're eating good. The more you're depressed, the more your anxiety, they're eating good.
Why do you think God lets these demons exist?
Yes. Even before I had this experience, before I even started my spiritual journey, I used to be mad at God. I used to be mad at God for my surroundings, for the things that I've been through, my environment, the people, just a lot of loss, a lot of death. And I said, God, you're not real. So if you're real, why you have us go through these things? Well, first of all, now that I know that I have a real relationship, it's not him. It's not him. See, the thing is, we always blame God for everything, but we never blame the enemy. I never heard anybody walk around and say, oh, Lucifer did this and that. And I said, so why wouldn't you just exterminate them?
Yep.
Lord, why don't you just let us live in paradise here on earth? Get rid of them already. Would you? Come on. Who hired these guys? You know what I mean? Type attitude. But then it came to my heart, and he put on my heart. Remember he said in the scriptures that he makes everything bad for your good? See, they are indirectly working for God. See, I know people that say, what are you talking about? Okay, how would you grow muscles without resistance?
True.
Right? How would you gain wisdom without error? How would you know there's light without darkness?
Very
correct?
true.
So he's counteracting, saying, wait a minute. They do have their day. They will be gone. But in the meantime, they're actually helping mankind with the resistance to help us get closer. Okay? Because if not, we would be robots and be stagnant in our growth without some kind of interference. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because even though we don't need them for that, but he says, since they're, you know what? Since they're here, and it's also, he's not violating anyone's free will. Because, angels at one time, I thought they didn't have free will. I thought angelic beings, when they were created for a certain purpose. Like a tree will always be a tree, right? They were created just to be a tree. A tree can't get mad and say, you know what, I want to be a bush now, right? Or I just want to be, I want to be an elephant. No, it's genetically modded. You have a purpose. Your purpose is that. But I didn't know there are certain realms of angels that do have a free will, just like we do. And one thing that I'm learning is that he doesn't violate free will.
Yeah, no problem.
He doesn't violate our free will. He doesn't force us to worship him. He doesn't force us to love him. And he still yet bestows love on us and still do things in the background for us. So,
like I was saying, man, this evening I was really depressed, feeling really low, really sad. And this video was recommended to me, and I watched it, and it completely pulled me out of that, and it gave me hope. And it made me realize the error of my ways and how I am, unconsciously getting in my own way and preventing blessings from coming into my life because I'm letting all the bad vibes win. And it's engulfing. And the thing he said about the other people, your energy getting sucked out and like living around people that aren't dialed in and don't have the Lord in their life, and they have these dark, demons basically that like are connected to them, and they like suck your energy. Because what he said, how like I'll be happy and then I'll just feel like sad, and like, alcohol is like, they call it spirits for a reason. That stuff is so bad.
What I come to learn in my personal experience, that I've learned that these demonic forces are still here, only but for a short while. That's why they're working even harder now, because the time is short. That he's using them now at this point to elevate us to get closer to him faster. Literally. It's making us, and especially if you have an experience such as mine, without this experience, I wouldn't know God.
True.
The way I do. And I hope everybody takes that bad. It's no such thing as a bad experience. It's only your perception of it being bad. Mm-hmm. Because when God talks to you and upgrades you, he always puts it in the form of a crisis. Right?
Yep.
I learned stuff through good times, but I learned wisdom through my bad times. Mm-hmm. That's when the real concrete knowledge comes in, when something is a real crisis and I make it through it, then I'm automatically elevated. So I'm starting to learn that's the way God gives his treasures, is through the hardest times. That's when your true upgrade comes. And I don't even know about you personally, but I know a lot of people personally really get the upgrades when they're hurt the most. Yeah. When they're going through the hurt and they make it through it, it changes them for the better. So while they think they're running loose, while demons and Satan think they're independent, they're actually being used by God.
So after you came back, how did your life change?
Well, at first, my life changed because I was terrified of a lot of things. And it ended up backfiring on me at first. It ended up because I was more suffering from PTSD than getting the actual message.
Wow.
Right? I ended up drinking more because I was terrified. It didn't kick in till years later by real change.
If anyone's just coming up, he just described when he was dead for 2 minutes and 38 seconds, and he went to hell, basically, and he described it in, like, very, very detailed, and, he was a gangbanger, he got shot, he was an alcoholic, violent, typical type of, gangster mentality. And then he had this experience, and it woke him up. And so his purpose is to spread this wisdom. And what I like about this isn't like little bat Christianity. Like, this guy is real. Like, not saying little bat's not real, but like, this guy is just speaking in a way that just, I don't know, because he has, in little bat's defense, he hasn't gone through this experience, which this experience has given it adds another dimension to it, to where
I'm not going to sit here and say after that, I just went straight to God and everything was just floating and mute. No, it doesn't work like that. It took years for my experience to really kick in and ingrain in me. And the more and more time passed, the more I started to see the things that I started recognizing that were in hell. They have music in hell. To let everybody know there's music there. Yes, there's horrible music, but it's music nonetheless. I start recognizing, like I was telling you earlier, about how they walk look like dances here. So the Lord was starting to remind me, and the more I started to realize, I said, wait a minute, I have to truly surrender. I don't know how dumb I was to take what the Lord gave me for granted in the first place. I need to truly, truly surrender now. And once I start truly surrendering, because I'm going to tell this, people love the idea of God. They really don't love him. They love just the idea because they don't have a true relationship with him. And I had the same thing at first. I love the idea that he saved me. I love the idea of God. But once I really truly surrendering and had a personal relationship with him, I just knew I loved the idea of him because now I love him. It's a big difference. Mm-hmm. It's a big difference. And once I started really, truly surrendering and remove myself out the way and just say, take over my day, take over my logic, take over my mind, that's when everything started changing. When I truly surrendered, not when I thought I surrendered, but still was micromanaging what God was doing for me. And I still was doing fleshly things, but when I truly stepped out the way and truly gave up and truly just said, okay, well, I'm sorry for taking your experience for granted. That's when he started working in my life.
He surrendered.
And now my life is completely changed because I don't manage myself no more. My flesh doesn't run me around. My flesh is not the boss anymore. Because we're all slaves to our flesh. Anytime I wanted to drink, I got a craving, guess what? I'm going to fulfill it. Anytime I wanted to have sex, guess what? I'm going to fulfill it, right? Anytime my body wanted to do something, I was responding to my body. Now my body's responding to my spirit. It's the difference.
What practical ways can you give us for the average person to make those changes?
Sure. The first thing you can do is remove yourself. Meaning, it's not all about you. Mm-hmm. I deal with people every day who suffer anxiety and depression. It's because what happens is their own flesh, including the enemy, compounds them to think about their own problems way too much. First thing you can do, go help someone else. Even I don't care what you're going through. I don't care how many problems you have. If you become selfless, that is the cure for anxiety and depression. Mm-hmm. Right off top. Mm-hmm. Period. When you stop making it about you, mm-hmm. you will start changing. And then you will start opening up new ways. So you start off slowly. It's not going to happen overnight. Secondly, your prayer life will increase your faith. Like I tell people all the time, do not pray and then worry. You cancel out, you void out your own prayers. You literally, I used to do it. I used to pray, Lord, help me with this. And then right after I say amen, I'm still worried about it. Mm-hmm. Well, you cancel out your own prayers and you get no results. Yeah. So the second thing you can do is when you pray, let it go. It is done. Just like if you deliver a package in the mail, you drop it in the mailbox, don't you? And you walk off. You don't hover around to see if you don't follow the mailman to make sure it goes to get delivered. No, you have faith that package is going to get delivered. We need to do the same thing with the Lord. Once you do it, he said it's his responsibility once you bring it to his feet. Drop it at his feet, let it go. And I promise you will see results. Trust me, once you pray, you got to have faith because you only can move as high as your faith. Anybody. So if you don't have faith, don't expect results. If you don't have a relationship with him, don't expect results. Mm-hmm. And the most important thing and the practical thing you can do, besides your prayer and remove yourself out the way, is get in those scriptures and talk to him. The same way we're talking, the same way we're having a conversation. Don't come with repetitious prayers. Now lay me down to sleep or thank you for the food. No. Mm-hmm. Be honest. Yeah. Be honest. Lord, I don't even think you're real, Lord. Lord, I don't feel your presence. I'm tired of going, whatever the case may be, that's all he wants is a relationship with you. Mm-hmm. Start treating him like a real relationship. That's the most easiest and practical thing you can do at this moment because you're not promised next 5 seconds. Don't keep putting God off. And start communicating with him like you would communicate with anybody else and watch what happens. I promise you, because when he talks, things move in your life.
Dominic, after watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that? And if so,
yes.
How do they contact you?
Sure. You can contact us on my website. It's called blessedtobechosen.com.
Nice.
Also, you can email me at blessedtobechosen.com, blessedtobechosen7@gmail.com. Also, you can reach us at the Narrow Path Society on Facebook. You can join the Narrow Path Society on Facebook. You can also call because we have a 24-hour prayer/hotline. You can talk to me directly.
Wow.
The area code is 763-447-8562.
Wow.
763-447-8562. And we appreciate everybody's help. Right now, we're in the process of building our own facility. So we're just asking everybody for everybody's help. We appreciate the previous donations. We hopefully you can drop the information down by the link. And I do have a new book coming out. It's called Spiritual Currency, which will be detailing a lot of my experience, but it'll also be giving you the help that you need to start off a practical way, like you were saying, a realistic, practical way. Because we got to keep it in the realms of being realistic here. There's no magic. There's no illusion about it. But yeah, you can contact me in those avenues, and please reach out. I have a lot of people already reaching out to me, and I do respond.
See, this is why racism is lame, because there's righteous people of all colors, and it's just ignorant. Because there's rad people that walk with righteousness. And you don't want to be narrow-minded and cut these people out of potentially delivering you a message and giving you wisdom, just because of what they look like. That's ignorant. You gotta take that hate out of your heart, because it feeds what you don't want to be fed.
A lot of people are shocked, but I don't know how many people there are. I always respond. If I don't respond right away, I will definitely respond to you, and it'll be able to help you.
Don't you have another book called The Toughest Enemy You Have in Life Is You?
Yes, my first book is on Amazon. It's called The Toughest Enemy in Life You Have Is You. And my second book is in Barnes & Noble. It's called Passport to Eternity. The first book on Amazon pretty much says it all. We are our toughest enemy. That's why I said in the way you can start helping yourself is remove yourself out the way, because you're your own stumbling block. And Passport to Eternity is about how our relationship with the Lord is the passport. That's your only passport, is your relationship with the Lord. That's your passport to eternity. Nothing else matters. You can sin a lot and do a lot of things. It's up to His grace if you get there. It's not all just based off your works. It's based off your relationship and how much you know Him and love Him. Literally, He can save you. You can be the dirtiest person, but if you authentically and He knows your heart, He can literally just bypass all of that and say, come on, you're coming with me because I've grown to love you and know you. It also says in the Bible, hey, I did this, Lord, in your name. I prophesied in your name. I did all of that. He'll say, I don't know you. You workers of iniquity. Move around, pretty much. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, get out of here. I don't know you. So the most important thing is your relationship and how much you depend on Him and really know Him. But yes, those are the books and the ways you can get a hold of me. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your time and your platform very much so. And I hope the word gets out. I'm really praying it does.
Well, don't go yet, because before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
Yes, I can. You all, don't take time for granted.
Yeah.
Don't take time. Each moment is an invitation from Him. Each moment that passes, you have a chance to be loved by Him. You have a chance to love Him. You are highly loved. And don't give up. And a lot of times people want to give up. Do not give up. It's all an illusion. This life is so temporary compared to eternity. And your self-worth is beyond measure. You have to start looking at yourself the way God looks at you. He loves you. He honors you. He cherishes you. Don't give up. You're way more valuable than you can ever think. You're more valuable than your money, your house, your car, your job. You're more valuable than anything can explain. So do not base your self-worth off your physical, financial status. Please, don't get that mixed up. You're very valuable and you're worth it. Thanks. So please, I encourage you to reach out and get your relationship right with Him ASAP. Don't put it off to tomorrow, because you're not promised tomorrow. You're not promised the next 5 seconds. So just do it now. So, and your self-worth is beyond comprehension. So remember, you're not worthless. You're not.
You're
not.
You're
valuable.
Real.
Dominic, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
No, all praise due to the Lord, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a blessed one. I appreciate you.
See, like, this guy, God bless this guy. This guy is so great. This guy changed my night. It gave me hope. Just the look in his eyes, like, that's a real ass dude. I feel bad for ever doing anything racist. For this stuff sucks. Alright, let's see what's the next one we've got. Let's see what this one is.
Hi, Randy K here. We all go through struggle.
Yo, dude, like I said, you're here for a reason. You know, that video's shown to me because I was going through it, and hopefully this video, everybody here, this resonates with you, and I hope that it is touching your heart and giving you, some wisdom and motivation to move in a new way and a new path. And because that's like what he said, you gotta be selfless. You gotta look out you gotta be your brother's keeper. You have to look out for people, and that's how you find happiness, is through in service of others. And that's why that guy is like, how many people would just say, hey, you can call me whenever you want. That's a guy who has seen real things and wants to save you and wants you to be released from the bondage of just sin and realize that there are consequences for living a hedonistic and a life that's not a righteous life. It's some call it karma. There are
At times. And I want to share with you through stories and insights and interviews with others how much God loves you. He loves you immensely. And that's what I hope you will hear through our interview.
Fentanyl is like the patches, and you put it on, it lasts for a long time. I would just cut it open, squirt out the gel, squirted it on top of the TV. I made a really short straw, took it up my nose, and I woke up. I must have stopped breathing or something because I was on the ground on my back, and there's some dude just speaking in tongues over me, of all things, and praying life, speaking life into me. I start coming to. By the time I got up, he was gone. I never figured out who that was. But then I got in my car and I drove all the way back to where my wife was living. We're living in a garage, some lady's house or whatever. Send something.
It sounds like from an early age when you were crying out the name of Jesus, and then whether this was a person, this is just unusual. That you wake up and you find this person next to you, whether that was an angel, we don't know, but it could have been.
Angels look like men, They always were thinking they're guys, so.
Well, the Bible says we can entertain angels unaware. So that's something that is entirely possible and has happened on a number of occasions. So there is, even though God heard your cries and he even brought a person to pray over you when you were completely knocked out and may have died from fentanyl, but eventually you did. The drugs got you. And then you went into a space that can only be described as hell. And you saw some things. You saw basically 3 categories of people that you found.
Carla, I think you can always be redeemed in this moment. Like the last guy said, you can always change your path, and you're not doomed to be destined for, eternal damnation because of the past. You can always move forward. And you help so many people out in your life, and you're such a great person. And I think that, you have a great heart. And the fact that you even care about that means that you have goodness in you. And don't be hard on yourself, just try to develop. I don't know if you believe in God or what your religious stance is, but if you do, just try to develop a relationship with the Most High, and then you'll and try to cut out vices in your life that you feel like because whatever you feel like doesn't make you happy, whatever that you feel like I mask my pain, or I used to mask my pain with drugs, and that was clouding my just my character and my moral compass. It was kind of turning me into somebody that I wasn't, and making me have more of a victim mentality, and it's all bad stuff.
In hell. And tell us how you came to be through this tunnel into hell. What happened in advance of that, and then bring us to what happened when you were in hell.
I bought a house in Fountain, Colorado, right outside of Colorado Springs, and I lost my job. I was hooked on heroin. I was trying to get clean though, and I would cry out to God all the time. I'd cry out to God. I'd be slamming dope and then repenting in 5 seconds. I'd be getting on my knees right afterwards. You know what I mean? And I'd be begging the Lord. You know what I mean? Because I felt there was this thing that came over me of darkness, to where I absolutely felt like, because there's scriptures, and especially if you read Hebrews, but there's scriptures, my spirit will not always travel with man, and I don't believe once saved, always saved. It's a marriage, like if you're not doing the part, you can destroy your marriage, So basically I was on methadone, but I would take 15 methadone 10s in the morning. I would take them 15 methadone 10s at night. I was trying to bring myself down, honestly. But anyways, one morning I took 15 methadone 10s. I would eat 10 of them, but I'd crush up 5 and snort them. Get them to hit me real quick or whatever.
By the way, I'm sorry, Cody. The methadone is used to take people off of heroin, right? I mean, it's supposed to take kind of a graduate down from off of, and eventually off of heroin. And you were just overdosing on that.
Well, that wasn't actually even doing nothing to me. It was when I started taking double shots of Everclear that morning. I kind of had an argument with my wife or whatever at the time. Forgot that you can't drink with it, Just wasn't thinking. It was routine.
Yeah, well, WAPs, they want to see if you're about that life, You get tested, you're right. That's it's like whenever I try to cleanse myself and go on fasting and try not to eat, try to cleanse my spirit, that's when people will be like, oh, you want to go to a seafood buffet, $200 seafood. That's when things get thrown in your path to kind of test your resolve and see, like I said, if you're about that life.
The methadone, so when I started drinking that morning, I just wasn't thinking about might not want to do this. And plus, it was like a new bottle, and Everclear's twice as strong as the other strongest stuff. It just tastes horrible.
What is Everclear? Is that what? I haven't heard of that one before.
He doesn't know what Everclear is. He's just a good dude, He's a good dude. He's probably never done anything bad. He's a righteous man.
100%, so like 200 proof.
Oh, okay.
Alcohol. Oh.
So, yeah, I was doing that.
He reminds me of Flanders. Oh.
30 minutes go by, and I've already taken 6 double shots. drinking like it was regular whiskey, basically. And walked into, all of a sudden I could tell something's not right. I started picking up on something where it made me want to pray and get close to the Lord, because there started to come with a little bit of fear, And I remember going into my bedroom, and my entertainment center was right there when you walk in the door. And I'm looking like past the entertainment center at the wall by where the window is. And I can tell that there's something, an entity standing there. And he's like putting off his vibe, his aura. I don't know. You could just sense it. And I knew right away it was a death angel. And I knew right away, I put that together with my feeling that something's wrong. And then it was like, in my spirit, I knew right away. I was like, I'm dying right now. It is on. I'm dying right now, 100%. So then my mom told me about it. This comes right into my mind. And thank the Lord that this is how merciful he is. So I deserve to die. I am dying. And this is what he does. He puts a scripture in my head, just like this memory of my mom telling me the robber on the cross, he was there, he didn't know God or Jesus. He wasn't ever serving the Lord, and he's there to punish because he deserves it. He's dying because he deserves it, right? And he says, hey, Jesus, will you remember me? And Jesus was like, yeah, I tell you the truth, you'll be in paradise with me today. And so that comes right into my memory. My mom explaining to me that story. And so I'm just like pretending like because I'm dying too. So I said, Jesus, oh my gosh, I did too much, whatever, I screwed up, I'm dying. Please forgive me for my sins. And as I'm saying that last part, it gets real dark, and I'm already noticing that I'm flying. And that death angel, it had me from behind. I never saw it. People ask me what it looked like. I never saw it. And then once I was in the spirit world, I might have been able to see it if I turned around, but I never looked behind me because I was just, everything that was going on in front of me was all new stuff. My eyes were full.
I think there's a difference, it seems, Cody, between kind of shouting out like you would to somebody to save you without really wanting it, wanting to be changed. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but it seems like, a lot of people, they shout out, Jesus, 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 as though it's kind of a mantra, and without the heartfelt desire to surrender to him. And it sounds like maybe you were kind of like that at this point.
Well, yeah, just let me say to your audience, that's the reason why, because I know there'll be some people that would judge me, the way I talk or dress or whatever, that they don't like.
We don't judge you, by the way. This is a loving audience.
The scripture, man, looks on the outward appearance, God looks upon the heart. So if they're thinking, how could God forgive him, and how is it that he, because that's where it starts happening. Especially people when they're watching this, the enemy's going to try to steal that seed. So, but yeah, that's the thing, is that when, first of all, I knew the presence of God when I was a kid, so I knew calling on him. I knew that I had all the faith you would need. I totally knew that he'd show up. So, but don't take advantage of that. You're not supposed to just sin and call on God. That's not how it works, But he answered that prayer. I didn't know it until after, I came back and I realized he honored that prayer. He actually put it in my mind to pray that prayer. He reminded me to pray. That way legally maybe he could bring me back, because it's like Satan, dude, he already asked me out. But it's that heart that I had that relationship with him. It's that intimacy that I had when I was a boy. I always missed it. I could not party and have fun like everybody else. When I was an adult and I was doing drugs, this was something I hated doing, and it was not for fun. It was to keep me normal, or whatever. And it just ended up being I was just bound by it, just how it ended up. If you would have told me this stuff when I was from 10 years, 21 to whatever, 10 years after that, there was a 10-year gap where I'm doing nothing but no parties, just praying, reading my Bible. And so I had this 10-year. If you would have told me then, hey, dude, in the future, you're going to overdose, die, I'm like, what? I'm not going to ever do drugs again. I would have totally not believed you. It just goes to show that the Lord, and he knows what's going to happen. So.
Yeah, there people watching this that are going to be saved. By the way, there's no magic formula for getting saved. You just need to surrender to Jesus, who died on your behalf on the cross, and just say, I'm sorry. I ask forgiveness, Lord, for all I've done. That doesn't matter whether you've lied or whether you've been taking drugs. It's the same heart. So, and that can be yours right now as we're speaking, and as Cody is sharing his story of how faithful Cody God was to you, even though you were unable to return it at this point. So there was an experience that he allowed you to go through of entering hell, and what you saw. So you had this drug overdose now, and at that point, I'm assuming your heart may have stopped. Normally it would, and you were now in a tunnel.
Yeah. I don't know what my body was doing, but I was moving anywhere near it, So I'm flying through this tunnel. I'm moving like I'd say I'm moving as fast as the speed of light. Everything looks like dirt. It's totally pitch black, but somehow I can still see. So I don't know what to say about it. But there's going to be a lot of things that I try to explain, and I just can't explain them, So I'm flying through this tunnel, and I start running into, on each side is a person, and they're chained like to the side of the tunnel, sitting maybe Indian style, sitting on their butt, chained to the side, right? And they're about 3 feet apart. Then there's the next one, and 3 feet back, right? There's another one. Both sides. Okay, so, and there's thousands, millions of them, right? So
Can you please give me a pregnancy test tomorrow? Huh?
they're having this, they're trying to make an excuse, but they don't really believe it because they're in the spirit, and all truth is known to them too. So they can't even buy their own lie, but they're trying to say, I'm a Christian, let me out, I shouldn't be here, reconsider my case, basically, is what they're yelling to do this behind me.
They're kind of crying out, and sounds like there's a sense of hopelessness about them.
Oh, absolutely.
Excuse me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely hopelessness here.
And there's this, you referenced the Nephilim. For those who don't know what the Nephilim was, there was, these were demonic creatures, basically, and these were fallen angels who, in the Bible, this is referenced, they had basically bred with humans and the Nephilim. So, yeah. But these are demons. I mean, these are truly demons there. And you had one that was with you at this point, and he was pulling you by the shoulder. Where was he taking you?
To hell.
Okay.
He took me to the center of the earth, I know that.
Yeah.
I never saw any fire, but I saw, like you said, 3 sections, and I don't think that's the only sections. So I only know the part that I saw. I'm only going to speak on what I saw. That's all, so.
The last guy said there were sections too. That's crazy how there's correlations in what these both guys said. Last guy said there were sections too.
Fill in the blanks with whatever else is going on down there, but I'm going down this tunnel. So then I'm perceiving all this stuff. So I'm going to say I come to know, because that's the only way I can explain it. Is I come to know something, I don't know it, and all of a sudden, bam, now I got new information, and accurate new truth or whatever while I'm in the spirit world. So as I'm flying through the tunnel, they're yelling out to him, to stop or to help them. Basically, I come to know that these are where the lukewarm or the fake Christians would be. So if someone asks you, hey, what religion are you? And you say, well, I'm a Christian. But the truth is, you're not obedient to Christ. It says, if you don't follow me, you don't love me, and then it's like people that they'll just say that they're Christians. It's just not, they don't have intimacy at first,
Well, only certainly God knows who are born anew versus those who are just kind of speaking out something that they don't mean or that is not sincere. But yeah, so you saw the what you called the fake Christians there. They were probably the ones. There are a lot of people that kind of say, "Oh yeah, I'm a Christian," and
the evangelicals and the Mormons.
Well, how much time do you devote to Jesus and prayer or knowing the Bible or things like that? And they would say, well, no, I'm just, I'm a Christian and I'm this and I'm a that. And it was kind of a, whatever is convenient at the time. And you saw those people who were there. And, the parable that Jesus told, Cody, comes to mind. It's the separation of the sheep from the goat. I know that scares some people at times, but Jesus told this parable of the separation of the sheep from the goat. And the goats basically were the people who came to Jesus. And these were presumably after they had passed and said, I'm ready to enter the gates of heaven. And Jesus said, I knew you not. And they said, well, I did all of these things, but, as though they could, earn heaven. And he said, I knew you not. He referenced those who were suffering, those who needed help. And there were the sheep were the ones who said humbly, when Jesus said, enter in these gates. And they said, well, what did we do? How did we, and he said, if you've done it to the least of these, you've done it unto me. You've done it to the least.
People don't realize if they're not in the Bible, if they're not in the Word, they don't understand. It's an upside down kingdom.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that was one grouping of people on these.
That I saw that because I would download, I would feel what that more looked like. It was more. It's interesting. Was that Then we that tunnel is over. Next thing I know, I'm standing. I'm looking at this humongous. What do you call it? Auditorium. Up in Seattle, they used to have the Kingdom. Now they have.
The auditorium.
Something with football games, baseball games, humongous.
Like an arena.
Yeah, arena, exactly. That's the word. So it's like way bigger than that. So I would times it by 8,000 just because I don't know what to times it by, but just humongous. And it's inside the earth somewhere. As crazy as that sounds.
The last guy said that too. Last guy we watched who died, he said it's just crazy. These guys die and say similar things. It's kind of spooky.
Anyways, and I'm standing there, and we've come to a stop, and I'm looking, and there's this row of people, and they're walking like shuffling their feet. Reminds me of like zombies. So they got their hands on the guy's shoulders in front of them. Some of them do, and they have their eyes closed. Some of them are mumbling, some of them aren't, but they have their eyes closed, and they're like shuffling their feet. And it's just a humongous line of people that are just walking this direction. So it's like a big circle of people. But if you want to fit 10 billion people there, then it's a huge circle, right? And that's how big this section, this room or section, whatever you want to call it. So, anyways, and I'm not even able to see the entire thing. It's just the fact that I'm looking at it and I just get all this information. I know that this is a never-ending line. It's just going around and around. And then so and then one guy that walked past me, the clothing he wore looked like it was more, it's been, since I've been born. This isn't like, it's not like pilgrim's clothes or nothing, it's like some stuff I recognize. I had clothes on too, for some reason. But anyways, so he's white, he looks American or whatever, and he kind of, because there's other people, they'll be dressing, and I've never seen even pictures of an outfit like this. So, and then dark people and different, whatever, just different cultures, So, but the one thing that when this guy came in front of me, I kind of was like, this is familiar. So then I'm like, well, what's up with this? What's going on? He's got his eyes closed. He's just kind of like mumbling something. And I was like, what's up with this guy? And as soon as I wanted to know more information, and I wish I didn't want to know, because I immediately go into this guy's head, and I'm looking down, and I'm looking at his hands, his arms, and he's sitting there and he's doing something unspeakable. He's a pedophile. So as soon as I see looking out of his, and he's like in a trance. So like we're like at his house maybe or something, because he's in a line, and like I go right into his head, and then all of a sudden we're like we're not in hell no more. We're in his house or something. We're in some room, and he's doing something that I don't want to see. So I immediately close my eyes and or whatever, and I'm immediately back in the original position, looking at the line as they're passing by. And then so then I realized that, I come to know this is the section for sexual immorality, and it says in the Bible, it says they'll be given over to their flesh, but they're not having fun, smoking joints, having sex and partying and having fun. This is in his mind. He's repeatedly doing what he's doing as a pedophile, and it is a torment. He cannot stop. He wants to stop. It's not because he, in the spirit world, he knows all truth too. You know what I mean? So he gets it that, God says this sin is bad. As soon as you die and you're in hell, you're like, oh, I think it's bad too. We think alike, because now, like, I see the truth. I get it now. So that's probably why there's nobody in hell that I saw, because I would download, I would feel what they feel, and I would hear their thoughts. Nobody was thinking this isn't fair. I thought that was interesting too.
So no one thought this was unfair? They thought they belonged there?
There's those that hate God, right? And they just really wish this wasn't the situation. But nobody is down there like, I could prove it, but he won't listen to me. I'm innocent. Like, nobody's like thinking that this isn't they didn't get what they deserve. There's definitely an understanding of, oh, okay. But they don't want to be there.
That's consistent, Cody, with what we've heard from others who have had hell experiences. And this is an interesting point. I mean, it's a sad point that nobody in hell thought, God was not just in letting them be there. They all felt like they belonged to be there, and these sins were replaying over that they had done. One of our guests, Brian Melvin, actually saw Hitler in heaven, and Hitler was seeing all of the atrocities that he had committed, people going into the exterminating units there, the gas chambers, and he was seeing this over and over, and it was tormenting him, as I assume that this man would be tormented by what he had done, knowing that it was wrong.
Yeah. So they're somehow or another, they can be like in a movie set somewhere else, but really they're in hell, like in a trance or something. Like, so that's, like I said, I didn't see fire, but other people have seen fire, and I'm just gonna speak on what I've seen. Like I said,
Well, that's just a flip side of that. Then is that in my case there were life reviews in heaven. So, and this is interesting, I think, Cody, that life reviews for those who are in heaven are seeing the things, that the failures, yes, but also the things that were honoring to God. But in heaven, the failures did not condemn. They just reflected the grace of God through all things. And when I returned, I asked the Lord why I could remember everything about heaven except for the failures. And I had, anyway, so God answered my prayer, and he said, because I removed them as far as the east is from the west. So that's the difference between those who are in Christ, like you, and many or most, if not all, of those who are listening, and hopefully by now, if you've confessed and received Jesus as your Lord, is that what happens in heaven is not condemning, but what happens there is what you're saying now, Cody, was truly condemning.
Torment. If you could be tormented without even being touched, they're in it. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. Right now, I'm just thinking, like, that's crazy. He's doing it right now. That same guy doing the same thing right now. And it's been years since I went there.
Wow.
So then, to make a long story short, that after I saw that, I immediately start being taken like a rag doll, like I said, taken towards this other section where I'm looking at against the wall. It's kind of, if you've seen it on History Channel, National Geographic or something. So like, it's like a castle, a beautiful castle built into the wall. So it's been carved out of the wall, kind of, right? And it's gorgeous, and it's totally decorated. It looks like the emperor lives there or something, a real humongously impressive castle. And the entrance had this door that it reminds me of like King Arthur's court. How you got it's like those two doors that would open up like this. It's kind of round at the top, but it's got like the nose ring and the bowl. It's got like those for the handles or whatever. So it starts taking me towards this, and somehow or another, I come to know this is the place where men who wanted to be like God, they wanted, which is like what Satan was trying to do to Adam and Eve. Hey, you'll be like God, just eat the fruit, right? So men that wanted to be like God, they loved the praise from men. They wanted to be looked up to. They wanted to be famous. They wanted to, but they led people not to Jesus, So you could throw a bunch of people in that section,
So these are the ones that were the false idolaters, the ones that wanted to be idolized.
I could tell because when I was looking at the beautiful castle, I started to pick up on that feeling of that type of a prideful feeling, and that's kind of foreign to me. I've done a lot of wrong things, but that's not what I'm not struggling in my heart with wanting to be worshipped and wanting to be, So it was just kind of a strange feeling or whatever to feel that, and I could tell as I was heading towards it, it's kind of getting stronger, and you could just in the spirit, you just told it, exactly where you're at, like. Just, you don't even have to ask, but sometimes I did ask things, but as soon as we go through the doors, man, and it's like bright, and you're thinking you're about to walk in the Wizard of Oz gold like floors or something, right? So as soon as you walk in, it's just plain, and there's nothing but jail cells on both sides. It's just
I'm streaming right now.
Well, I didn't know you were streaming.
And I'm trying to play this video, and they can hear you, so please.
Long hallway, just jail cells, and it's just full of all sorts of people I don't reckon.
Please stop talking.
Why? Why do you have a Bible?
Because I asked, dude, please respect me.
And we're going down the hall, and I'm looking left and right, and I look over, and I see a guy that got my attention. He's white, looks like kind of Abraham Lincoln type day and era, just kind of like he's in the corner of this jail cell, and he's got his eyes closed.
Please
and he's
stop talking. I'm trying to stream. Please stop. If you please stop talking. Please.
Muttering something too. He's just like standing in the corner like a toddler would in an empty jail cell, and the door is open on the jail cell, on all of them. None of the doors were closed, so they could get out, I guess, but I don't know where they go. But they don't know it. They're just in the corner. in the jail cell. So anyways, as I passed him and I saw this guy, and it reminded me of like Abraham Lincoln type days, whatever. So I got interested in him more than what I was seeing prior. And when I got interested in him, I started to wonder, and that was my mistake. As soon as I started to wonder about him, I go right into his head. And now him and I are both standing out on a green lawn. It wasn't like well-kept grass. It need to be mowed. But I look over and he's over there with his foot kicking the grass. And I'm looking at this guy and, I'm feeling like deja vu. And I'm not the one feeling it. He's feeling deja vu. Like, he's like, I've been here before. Or something is suspect. He's kind of picking up on having that feeling. And I felt it through him,
Did you get an impression what he was thinking or how he was?
Yeah, at first he's tripping. Can't make sense of it. Because he's like, I know he's thinking that I was just in hell. He's kind of like, I was just in hell. How am I now back alive or whatever, Because I felt very alive too. We're on like grass lawn. There's a sunny, bright day, wind blowing, probably hearing birds chirping in the background. Like this was the best make-believe place I've ever thought of. We're in his trance though. Wow. And so he's having deja vu, thinking something suspect. And when he started to have that where he was hesitant, he looks up, and then he looks up, and then he has the thought, I'm home. And then so I look over at what he's looking at. He's looking at a 2-story white house, windows, pretty plain, reminds me of like a barn looking thing. So anyways, I look at it, he's looking.
See, guys, that's what I'm saying. When you get closer to Christ, Pete thinks she never comes up. She always stays downstairs every single day until 8 a.m. on the computer, never comes upstairs. But the day that I start getting close to Christ, the day that I get close to Christ and I change this, when she starts coming upstairs and like tries to get in and starts wanting to like talk to me and all this stuff. It's like, I'm telling you, this is what happens. Like, they get thrown.
Why are you freaking out? You have 6 viewers.
Because this is about people's experiences that died and went to hell. Okay?
I know,
and
that happened to me before.
He's explaining this, and like.
Okay. Well,
and so this is like
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
At it, he's thinking I'm home, and he starts to walk. At first, maybe starts a speed walk or something. So he's starting to get some excitement. He's starting to forget that he was just in hell. He's starting to like kind of believe it maybe or something. But he's having this deja vu feeling, and it keeps on coming, and I'm feeling it too. And then it starts to have a reaction in the top story of this house. I start hearing a ruckus noise plus banging or something is going on up in the top story of the house. Have alligator face, yellow eyes, looks like Hunchback of Notre Dame is going on with their back, kind of like a snail, but no shell. Short feet, or whatever. If they have feet at all, they could be just slithering around. It's real strange to see something like that, right? About 6 feet away from me. But they're the ones making the ruckus. and they're talking in this wicked language. It's hard to hear. It just strains you to hear it. It's like you don't want to hear it. You want it to shut up, you know? So they're talking back and forth and they're frustrated, and I'm just kind of picking up on what they're thinking. And what they're thinking is that the guy knows that something's up. He's having deja vu, he's having suspect, and they need the guy to come upstairs or whatever. And it's like then as I'm kind of hearing that or whatever, I kind of look towards where the stairs are, and I can see, I both can see the wall, and I can both see the floor and everything. Plus, I can also see the footing. And I'm looking right at the guy, kind of like down on top of his, forehead-ish face or whatever. I'm looking down upon him, and I'm picking up on his thoughts, and he's not coming in the door because he's scared now. He's frightened. Okay, so then I look back towards the two alligator-looking demon things, and one of them staring right at me, looking like he's looking into my soul, just staring right at me, and he telepathically speaks into my head with my voice, and he says, "Call the guy upstairs. Call him. Tell him it's okay. Tell him to come up." In my voice. So I'm like, what in the heck? So then my next thought is, I'm not helping you. I said something, but I responded back with my mind, and he received the message. I know it because as soon as I responded, he just looked away from me, and they never acknowledged me again. What they did start doing is they start crying out in this maybe wicked, let's say demonic, how the enemy copies, he has like a counterfeit of almost everything God's doing that I know. It's like a counterfeit speaking in tongues. It was a horrible whatever that I can't show you. I can't explain it. But anyways, so we'll move on. As they're doing that noise though, I perceive that they're calling for help to solve this issue that they're having here. All of a sudden, this thing comes right through the wall, and it looks black, like the size of, I don't know, man, the size of my hand. Maybe the size of my hand. But it's like black, and it's kind of, I'm thinking it's kind of square looking, just plain. And it's just nothing but like maybe a hole, it's so black. But it comes in, and then it just starts moving across the floor, and behind it, I realize is a giant trail of a hole. So it's like everywhere this thing goes is destruction. He's like, you could spit down in this, this little gap, of trail that he's leaving, and it would never hit nothing. Like he just destroyed all the earth underneath it, pretty much. Everywhere he went he's just destroying the ground, everything, leaving this crater basically. And so he comes in the middle of those two things, and he starts to spin. It reminds me of the Tasmanian devil. I reference cartoons twice at least in this testimony. But it reminds me of the Tasmanian devil, how he would spin or whatever. But this thing spun, turned gold, and got big and tall. And now you're looking at 10, 12 foot. I don't know. You couldn't tell if it was a boy or a girl. It would be, the only thing you could call it would be like a beautiful man, because it didn't have, breasts and stuff, right? And it's not like wearing lipstick, but it does look too pretty to weird you out. You're just like, this is in between. It's an in between maybe or something. So I'm looking at it, and it's gold, and it's got gold spit, and it's got gold eyes, just different shades of gold, And I'm looking at this thing, and it tells the two alligator-faced demon-looking things. It gives them a task. It tells them an order. They disappear. They go right out the walls. They disappear. And now I'm standing there with this thing, okay? And it doesn't look at me either, though. It turns and it faces like the stairs, and it cries out. And no joke, this thing's chest starts shaking, and I realize this thing these aren't vocal cords. This thing got like an instrument built inside of it. Cries out, and then now my opinion is totally different. This was a beautiful noise. The noise, it meant something. It was communicating with one solid, it was communicating a whole bunch of sentences and everything. Like it came with, I don't know how to explain it. And it definitely didn't sound like what I did. It was beautiful noise. calls out, and then I hear the door just like slam open, and dude's running up the stairs, right? And he comes to the top story, slides down, starts worshiping this thing. And then I'm like picking up on the guy's thoughts as he's on his face, and he's familiar with it. He's seen it before somehow, because he's basically, I'm back with God or whatever. It's kind of like that type of thing. So he's thinking it's God, but I just saw it coming, some little black destroying whatever, you know. And so anyways, he's worshiping it. And this thing tells him, he said, like real sweet voice, kind of like helping him up. Like, he's like, it's okay, get up. Like trying to earn his trust or whatever, make him feel good. Just talking just real sweet to him. Like it was weird. Kind of feminine and masculine at the same time. So I wouldn't talk to nobody like this, but so gets him to stand up, and then he goes like this with his hand, and now we have no walls in this top story of this house no more. We're looking out at Woodstock crowd of people just going as far as I can see, just huge amount of people, right? He walks the guy up to like the edge where the wall disappeared, and there's all these people, and you can't really hear them. You can't understand anything that the crowd's saying, but you will here in a second. So the golden angel looking thing or whatever tells him, preach to them my word, give them the message I gave you. Basically just said something like that to him, right? And then the golden angel thing, it steps back, okay? And then the guy's standing there and he starts to speak. And then it catches my eye that golden angel's over here holding up gold hieroglyphs. Holding them up, and they're just flipping like this. As the dude who's preaching or whatever, as he's like talking, you see these hieroglyphs. They light, they spin, light, spin, light, spin. And then it starts over as the angels holding these things up. And then I'm watching that, and then I realized that like this gold spit is start expanding. And so then I look down at the thing's mouth, and it starts to smile like the Grinch just started distorting its face. The smile started going up, and this thing just pure evil on this thing's face. So as he's doing that, I start hearing cuss words from the crowd. And it starts to be like turned up to where you can start hearing many of them saying this type of stuff. And they're saying, you idiot, you're the reason we're here. You're going to tell us that bull crap or whatever. You know, we're all in hell with you. You're the reason we believed you, and now we're all stuck in hell, and you're going to sit there and, you know. So, like I said, the castle section that I went into was those who wanted to be the big dog. You know, everybody listen to me, do what I say, I'm in control, I'm a big dog. You know, it's like that. So that makes sense. So we start hearing him cussing, the crowd cussing at him. You know, one of them said, I said, come down here, like I'll tear you to pieces. So then the house just starts shaking, and it reminds me of the Wizard of Oz. You know how that house was like falling apart in the twist through, like going up? Mm-hmm. So like that type is what I start to perceive starts to happen. And I get real scared. And as soon as I got scared, I got picking up and I got taken up. Like now I'm up here by the moon, looking down on the whole house and everything. And that house is just falling apart, all the wood, boom, 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 just the roof is just falling apart. And then you realize that it's actually on a balancing rock formation type thing. Like you'd see him on Coyote and the Roadrunner. It's red rock, desert type rock formation. He's standing on top of that, preaching to this huge crowd in hell that's all surrounding him. Okay? And so he stops preaching. When he starts hearing the cussing, he stops preaching. So then what happens is the crowd starts to part from behind. And I'm watching it, and it starts parting. And so something is moving its way all the way to the front of the crowd. And so it's two alligator demons, and they got what looks like his family. So the one that stood out, you know, was this. I know that there's no children in hell. This had to have been in his trance for just to mess him up or whatever. But it was just a little girl, and she basically saying, "Daddy, why'd you lie to us? Why'd you lie?" And there was other youngsters there too. But I mean, huge crowd, you know. And I'm looking right, and she even had a teddy bear, had a dress, which you know that there's no little girl in hell You know what I mean? And then I hear that Joseph Smith didn't even have a daughter, and I'm like, I don't know why this girl's calling him daughter. Who knows what he told any little girl? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's what I saw.
Wow. So this person that you saw was wanted to be idolized, and he was speaking to a lot of people. This huge number of people. You described it as something out of Woodstock in large numbers. And they were blaming him essentially for lying to them, but he was seeing the adoration that he would have received, but he didn't, because the people realized at this point in hell that they had been deceived by him. But still, he was in this kind of mock-looking appearance where he was semi-attractive, but not gold, which he was, we oftentimes hear of the speaking, like gold, or his words were like gold, and he was spewing forth lies, or, things that were against God, or trying to draw the attention and adulation to himself. So this is that, and it sounds like, Cody, that this particular exposure in hell for you really stuck out in the most detail, were the ones who are just looking for self-adulation.
It did. It made no sense. Just to wrap it up, so he realizes that he's brought not only these other people, but he's brought his family here, okay? So then all of a sudden, hopelessness from the top, from the ceiling down, hit him so hard when he realized that they're all in hell for eternity with no hope of getting out. This hopelessness hit him from the top down, and I was over there up here watching, and it hit me too. And I'm gagging. Just like the hopelessness made you want to throw up, man. You couldn't contain it. It's just like you ate green slime or something. The hopelessness was all through you. It was so messed up how they put it on. Okay, so then all that's hitting him, and just he knows he'll never get out. He's so screwed. I'm so screwed. Like this type of he's starting to freak out, and then we're immediately back on his lawn again. And I look over, and he just starts moving the grass, see when it's real. Starts having like he's second guessing it. Having deja vu again. And
wow.
then as I see that, then next thing you know, bam, I'm back like in that hallway of jail cells, and now I'm getting momentum, and I think this thing is taking me to my section, wherever that was supposed to be. I never made it, because when we exited the castle going down that hall, got real bright. I ended up in my bedroom, Fountain, Colorado, just freaking out. And I was there. In my experience, there was more to it. My experience was like 4 days. Being there and watching, for some reason, I felt like I was gone for 4 days. And when I came back, I know, because as soon as I was back in my bedroom, my ex-wife come running in from work, and I know that was 4 hours. She like I overdosed at noon. It's 4 o'clock, so that's 4 hours, right? So putting that together, how it says time flies when you're having fun. It's even going slower when you're in that torment. So not only is eternity like really long, it's even worse than that, because it's even worse. It's even slower. It's just
a slow torment.
Mm-hmm. And when I was in there, another thing before I forget, when I was in that section where I saw that line of people with the perversion section, there would be earthquakes that I would perceive happening, and it kind of freaked me out or whatever. And then somehow or another, like I come to know this, somehow or another, I know that it was so many folks. This is how it came to me. There's so many souls. This is the answer to why there's earthquake. There's so many souls flooding into the center of the earth. It's expanding. You know what I mean? And then if you see the continents going farther and farther apart.
Wow.
There's earthquake. I freaked out. All of a sudden, information came. It's making room.
So hell is expanding to make room for people.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. There's so many people flooding into hell that I could perceive. I would say dang, when I came back, I'm just looking at everybody at Walmart, and I'm like, oh, you guys have no clue what's about to go down. You know what I mean? Like, and then I'm like, shouldn't I say something? Shouldn't I save them? So there was a season when I was standing outside of Burger King, opening the door for people, and I would just tell them, I'm like, dude, Jesus is real. He's coming back. They just look at me like I'm nuts. You know, I don't know how to do this, Lord. Like, what do you want me to do with this? And then it's like I come back. When my wife came in, I couldn't talk to her. She was trying to tell me about something stupid, like a little puppy at work or whatever, something that wasn't like life or death. And I was in life or death mode. So I just basically told her, leave me alone. I just couldn't talk, man. I didn't want to see nobody, talk to nobody. And I stayed replaying it. Everything I saw, I'm just like, it's like it won't stop playing in my head. So I've become under this torment. And to be honest with you, the enemy came to me and he told me, I didn't hear him say nothing, but this is ended up what I ended up believing, this lie. And it was that when you died, you went to hell. So the next time you die, guess where you go? Hell. You know, so when I came back, there wasn't this, I'll just, okay, I'm back. Now I can serve the Lord. It was somehow this darkness had really gripped me. And now it was like, I am unsavable. And it made sense to me. It was a lie, and it made sense to me that I was unsavable. I knew the power of the Holy Ghost as a little boy. You know what I mean? I'm 13. I'm in Seattle Children's Hospital. I missed all of 7th grade because I got so many spots over my lungs, and I had to send the cancer doctors in there telling me I got a month to live. You know what I mean? And I'm in a wheelchair and everything, and I pray to the Lord, and I'm like, hey, I was 13, and I had the sense to tell the Lord this: thumbs up if you hear me, thumbs up if you're taking me home. I'm just gonna praise you. I wasn't even trying to tell him what to do when I was in the Seattle Children's Hospital. And then I got a miracle. Man. After I had that prayer where I told him, because at first I was upset. I had plans, but I ended up sitting there by myself at night. And I was like, Lord, I trust you. I don't care what it looks like. You can heal me. Just like that's what Abraham was thinking when God said, sacrifice your only son. Abraham, he's like, okay, I'll do it. You know why? Because he's thinking, if I kill my son and cut his head off, Jesus loves me so much. We're best friends. I'll just put the head back on, and I'll have my son back. You know what I mean? God could, it's just, God, so there's just just kind of realize that he probably has this all figured out, and I'm just clay, and I don't see the future. And that's the only problem we got going on,
How old were you when you had this experience, when you OD'd and then your heart stopped and you went into hell? How old were you?
2008. I'm 39 right now.
Okay. So you weren't a child at that time. And you were a young adult. And so... So you came back, and basically the enemy is telling you that you're destined to go there. What happened to make you so on fire for Jesus today?
Father-in-law. Name's Ray Coward. The Lord sent him. My wife. I was After that experience, I lost everything. I used to have a file on my laptop, and it was pictures of all this stuff. And the name of the file was things that I've lost. My wife, my house, everything. You know what I mean? So I lost everything, and then I ended up going to the streets. And I definitely could not stay sober. I could not be thinking. My survival was stop thinking. Torment, full torment. I'm telling you, something came over me that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And what people don't realize is there's people that are going through that same thing, that torment. And man looks on outward appearance. So you're judging, you're saying this and you're saying that. It's not good if anybody's in sin, of course. Don't be pro-sin. not what I'm saying. But like, our enemy is not each other, you know? If you and me, you know, if we were in the same room and we were in an argument, but then a burglar started walking through the, you know, the back door or climbing through the window, you and me wouldn't even have to talk. We would just start on the burglar, because that's the real enemy. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, it's, I don't even know what I should be saying right now.
Well, you kind of, when I think back on your story, Cody, I think of this little child who got hooked on weed at the age of 5 or 6. But yet, you knew enough, and Mom told you that Jesus was the answer, to want to know Jesus, crying out, and the Lord heard those prayers from a little child, and He made a covenant with you that He wouldn't let you go, and you continue to rebel against Him in different ways until you're physiologically, chemically addicted now, and then you went through this space of hell to help others, to help save others from this hell. So you're sober now, and you have a family, you have a wife, and children, and you're living the dream.
I am living the dream. Literally, so that 10 years that I went, basically my parents want to talk to me. I left my wife, I got on an airplane, didn't even tell her. I just went to Kalamazoo, Michigan, you know, flew out there, got a different job, just, you know, horrific stuff. To this day, I know the Lord forgives me, but that ain't something that's easy for me to think about, the things that I've done, how I've hurt people. But in this 10 years, I've been a homeless shelter in Stockton, and
I'm sorry, you have gone to a homeless shelter, or you?
I was in a homeless shelter in Stockton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like kind of like a discipleship home. That's what you'd call it. It's people getting off the streets, and they got a bunk, you know. And so I'm in there, and I have this dream where I see my wife, and a cute, petite brunette, and her and I are like in this dream. You know, I see her in my peripherals, and we're like laying on a beach or something, and she gets closer and closer, and we end up kissing and hugging. And I have this dream where I vividly see her, and I wake up in the homeless shelter, and I'm just like, praise you, Lord, for my pillow. Thank you, Lord, for my bunk. Thank you that I have a roof. Thank you for the toilet. Thank you for the sink, you know, and just super excited. But I thought God was sending me my wife, because in the dream, that's basically what He told me. But 3 years later, I ended up, I was in Oregon, and I was at a cafe called The Riv. It was actually in the Dalles, Oregon. And she walked in, and I ran up on her, and I told her, I said, you're supposed to be my wife. I had a dream about you 3 years ago in a homeless shelter. And she said, you're nuts. Get away from me. So just like you'd imagine, I don't know why, but I thought God gave her too. But anyways, and it was her.
Wow.
Her dad, my father-in-law, who told me about the bride of Christ. I spent a lot of time in scripture, but the Song of Solomon was kind of mushy, and I would move on to something else. And he was explaining to me, no, you're still alive, first of all, but he says, as much as you are in love with my daughter, and you will not take no for an answer, and you will not stop chasing her, that's how Jesus feels about you. So although Satan's told you that you don't, because I don't deserve it, but Satan's told you, you know, that if you went too far, you've backslidden, you tread the blood or whatever, all those scriptures that condemn me, I would eat those up, you know, and it was just for a long time, man. I just was absolutely tormented by the lies of the enemy. And if I would read a scripture and it was good, it would just be like, well, that's for somebody else. That's not for me. That's for people who aren't. You know, it's just that, you know, but it's not by works that you're saved. To my benefit, you know, and everybody else's. So, you know, thank you, Jesus. So He answered my prayer That little prayer, I'm telling you, when the death angel showed up and I knew I was dying, that prayer wasn't like a heartfelt, bro. I mean, I didn't want to go to hell. I didn't want to die. I was scared. But I just said it. I had no time, so I just said, Jesus, please forgive me for my sins. And he's like, I'm going to take that. I will take that and I will use that. And for some reason, he saw something in me worth saving. And he saved my life so many times. But, and, you know, that's the thing, man. Hell is real. When I came back, my father-in-law at the time, his name is Ron Coffin. I'll never forget it. But I told him he knew about my hell experience. And one day, we're in Elk Grove, California, and he showed me his laptop, and he's got a picture of the guy that I seen in it. And I'm like, oh, dude. And it's more than the picture. In the spirit, I'm having revelation. So that's actually something else that's playing even a bigger part, than just the pictures. There was something that was going on to where I was recognizing in my spirit. I was getting some clarification on some things, right? So it's like, he's like, yeah. I was like, who is that? And he's like, scroll down. So and he's got it all set up to just kind of shock value, shock me. And I don't know where he got these, but I've seen them on Google Images later. But make long story short, I go down and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that house. That's the house. We were on that lawn right there. That's that white house, the windows and stuff, right? And then and I'm just like getting confirmation in my spirit, And then he's like, well, scroll down. And then I see a picture of these kids, and I'm like, dude, those are the kids that were in it, or whatever, And so there's people ask me, oh, hey, well, all these pictures of Joseph Smith, they can't, what if they don't even look like Joseph Smith, or whatever, So that's how he dropped it on me. And then I'm like, who is this guy? He's like, Joseph Smith. And then I asked him, who the heck is that? Because at this time, I know nothing about Mormonism or Joseph Smith. I don't know nothing about it, right? So I just believe in my Bible. I know there's a lot of things going on, but to me, I just thought it was another Christianity. I didn't reason to think anything bad about any of it. And then it's like, why that? I would have been more interested in maybe getting to see, like, I don't know. I just didn't know nothing about the guy. And so I could have seen
seeing that. So you're seeing that man that you saw in hell that was looking for that adulation.
Yeah, and it's like the nose is different. If you look at the pictures, it kind of has like a long nose. Whatever. I don't know. The bottom line is, when he shows me this, it's like a God moment, man. You know what I mean? So
wow.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to say, dude, it's just like, I know nothing about this stuff. No reason to want it to be him, But it was just it all just came back so vivid, Look, being where I was at. Okay, so then I'm like, explain it to me, because I'm not convinced. So he says, you said that it was a golden angel type thing, right? Golden hieroglyphs, right? Well, that's what's in the Book of Mormon or whatever. That's what this dude's seen. And you said that he's seen it before. He was familiar with it when he worshipped it. You're talking about this 2-story white house, these windows. That's what's on here. And he's talking about how you were in the section where a false religion, people that would lead people to hell, lead many people to hell. They got their spot, right? And that's where you've seen him at. You've seen him preaching on the Balancing Rock formation, like Coyote Roadrunner. My dad, he's like, those are in Utah. Those are in Illinois too. And then I took people to tell me, I don't know nothing about him. But people are like, well, he never stepped foot in Utah. And I'm like, so what? Does that have to do with anything? This guy has this movie reel that he's a part of that is overplaying since the time I saw him until sitting here right now. You know what I mean? And it just is what it is. Like, it doesn't matter step foot where he walked, where, you know what I mean? I'm just saying this is what I saw, And that's the guy that I saw. But now I moved to Idaho and I find out, well, there's a lot of Mormons here that I could help, that I could witness to. You know what I mean? And I don't know enough about the Mormon religion to, like, say, hey, this is where you're wrong. But I do know that if you're comparing Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, the name above all names, King of Glory, right? If you're comparing him, saying that he's Satan's brother, like, oh, he's brother to the loser, to the little guy, whatever. It's like, nah, these guys, they're not. Jesus has no contenders. There's nobody to combat him and step in the ring with him. It's just Jesus. Then you got his creation, which is, even the biggest, baddest demons, they're just his creation. They just have to do whatever he says,
Yeah, they're not the creator. There's one creator, and that's it's what we call the triune God, God the Father, God the Son.
And I'm just grateful for everybody that's in here. People are commenting things that normally I would have responded in a way that's like, said some shit or said some things and, been combative, but, I'm learning to forgive people, even if I felt like I was stolen from or, whatever, I forgive them. It's okay, obviously they needed, my battery back more than I did, and it's cool, like I forgive you, it's all good. Normally I probably would have said something else, but you obviously need it more than I do, so it's all good, and I forgive you, and I love you, and everyone in here, if you feel that like I've done you wrong or I've gone against you, just know I don't have any ill will towards you. There's no bad vibes, I'm on a new path. I'm doing something new, and I'm trying to be a better person. Was living in like bad drug addiction, and I'm not trying to let anger into my life anymore. I'm just trying to live a blessed up life and trying to get, people that use drugs and, non-believers and kind of, you gotta trying to walk with people that are righteous and have a moral compass that believes in something higher, and nothing against people that don't do that, but that's just where I am right now.
And the Holy Spirit as one. In fact, they reference themselves as plural in the Bible, but there's an admonition for anyone who tries to change the Bible within the Bible. Anyone who tries to add a word to the Bible, that is, that they declare that is the gospel, a false gospel. So one of the Cody, you are a humble man yourself. We talked about earlier about you wanting to be noted as blood-bought versus your name. I'll just say Cody Leatherberry is your name, but blood-bought is your, I guess your name, your rapster name.
Yeah, when we were kids and we were rapping and stuff, they had the rap name. I didn't want to have a name. I was just like, I'm just rapping about what Jesus did for me, but let's focus everything on Jesus' name if we can, And so I am blood bought is a true statement, and you're blood bought also. You bought with the price of blood, right? So I'm blood bought. Like there's a song and it says the verse ends. It says blood bought will be written on my toe tag, and it's like.
Would you mind? I've never asked anybody. Obviously, we've had a son of a rap artist who is a secular rap artist on this show, but would you mind? I'm putting you on the spot. Just give us a few verses of.
Spit some. Can we get spit some freeze? Can you spit a couple bars for us?
Of one of your songs?
Yeah, I could. I got that song that I wrote on this piano. I don't really play the piano very well. I just go like this, but I was writing the song about being in hell. I could do that one.
Well, you don't have to do the full song. We'll put the links if you want to listen to Cody's full.
You give me now help when I call upon the name of the King. Promises are not for those who fail to believe. Coming out for pills, do you steal like a fiend? Could reach a long range with the hell that I sing. Rather speak peace if you feel what I mean. God, you're good. God, you're great. Took a long.
I think that's the first rap song I've really liked. So there you go. So I'm turned on now to rap. So that I love that. I love that. That's, you know, you're reaching an audience that wouldn't be listening to an old maybe church song, but you know, a new audience. And we talked about before the show that, you know, rap is a lot of bad rap there. They're just saying things that shouldn't be said about abusing women and cussing and drugs and all that. Yeah.
Absolutely. But one of the things that I remember, this one girl I watched, maybe it was TBN. I think I was watching with my grandma when she was still alive. But I remember her saying that in heaven she saw a room with like songs, and the angels would go grab a song and go deliver it to somebody who was down on earth writing. And she had like this type of vision, or maybe she was really in heaven. But I'll never forget that, because
hey dude, you know, it's all good. Like, I forgive you. The only thing that I was kind of bummed out is I gave you like a $350 skateboard, and I was waiting for you to be like, hey dude, I have your battery pack, man, like, because I didn't want to think that, like, that, you know, I didn't want to think that, like, my mod would be able to, like, look at my things in your possession, especially after I gave you something so expensive, something that meant so much to me, and not at least be like, hey, I have this, my bad. Like, I wasn't trying to keep that, and so that just put a really bad taste in my mouth. And especially from everything I'm going through, I was just like, damn, like, it just didn't really make sense to me. And also, I heard your girlfriend, like, be like, hey, let's let him over and shower. And for whatever reason, like, you just never wanted to, like, let me do that. But your girlfriend did, and, like, that always didn't really make sense to me, why, like, she was trying to help me out, but you just, like, I don't know, you just didn't want to, like, your girlfriend wanted to help me out more than you did, which is fine. Like, I forgive you, it's all good. But like I said, dude, like, it's cool, like, I don't hate you, but it's just like, I don't think that, like, you really care about me that to the point where, like, I would consider you a mod, you know? Like, that really hurt me, because when your girlfriend's like, yeah, let's let him over to shower, and I was like all happy. I was like, fuck yeah, like, that means so much. And then he kind of just, like, didn't say anything, and I was just like, so, you know, like, but it's cool, I forgive you, it's all good, man. Like, you can keep that battery pack, I hope you enjoy the skateboard, like, whatever, man. Like, I don't hold it against you, it's all good.
if I try to write a rap song on my own or whatever, I can tell, because it's kind of corny and it's kind of like not that great, it's just maybe average or whatever. But like when I wrote this song, Internal Grind, I walked into the presence of maybe an angel or something. But I walked into the presence of, it made me say Jesus. You know, it's the holy peace. It's the heavenly feeling. It's not the enemy. I know, definitely I know what those two things are. They're opposite. And I walked into this and I started hearing the song, Internal Ground Out My Soul, my life down. And then I started writing and I could not keep up with it. I started writing so fast. And it's super fun when I'm alone with Jesus. It's way more fun than doing a concert. When I'm alone with Jesus by myself and he gives me a song, because we're having intimacy, he's giving me the song, I'm hearing it and writing it down. And that's when I don't write my own music. And when that happens, it's great. You know, so.
Well, we want to people to listen to your music, and you know, young and old, you know, but I think, and this is going to be inspiring, because it is, the Holy Spirit is on your music. I was listening to some of it before we interviewed, and I do sincerely really like it. And I don't like rap in general. I'm very particular about songs, but that yours is inspired by the Holy Spirit, and there's that comes. I love the beat and the rhymes and all of the things that go with it. So it's a form that, and I too, when I was in heaven, I was seeing the inspiration that the Lord was imparting from his throne of that he's creating the new, that the inspiration that is being imparted from heaven. So clearly you have it.
He's all about death and resurrection, even from the cross and even from my life, like the crushing of the rose to bring the fragrance, So I write the songs that I wrote is because I have been in such a dark place where I thought there was absolutely no salvation for me. And then I found out that the presence of God, when he showed up, the mercy, it makes you say what the patriarch said. He is faithful. He'll never leave you. How do you think they know that stuff? It's because they've been through the fire. They've come out bold, but they have to go through the fire. And then that's how, Jesus through his sufferings. That's what people don't get. Like the prosperity gospel would go nowhere if people knew their Bible. You know him through his sufferings, and it's fine if you get rich. It's tough. I ain't telling you not to. But like, if you're kingdom-minded, if you think that life don't end here, if you believe in eternity, you'll have an eternity type of mind, and that would probably mean you are giving your money to the poor because you're really thinking my treasures are in heaven. So.
Yeah, those investments last for eternity. Those on earth go away within a.
This experience has made it is very easy for me to forgive somebody. It is very easy for me to forgive somebody. If somebody hurts me, if somebody is my enemy, they're actually trying to get me fired. I just look at them. I understand. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm no better than you. When was the last time I was talking crap about somebody I didn't like? When was the last time I was just running? Maybe it was a long time ago. It doesn't even matter how long time doesn't make sins go away. The blood makes sins go away. So it's just
that's true. Blood bought, hence your name. And if the account that Cody gave you scares you, let it scare you in the right direction. Let it scare you towards Christ, because I assure you, whatever horrors are evoked or whatever thoughts are evoked in something is to draw you close, because God doesn't want that for you. Jesus went to the cross that all might be saved. No, not everybody is saved. Obviously, Cody, you had witnessed those who are in hell for their defiance, but they're the ones that are in hell that know that that's where they belong. They're not saying blaming God for that. And that's true. It's hard to understand, almost impossible. But we're going to give you an opportunity now, and I'm going to ask my brother Cody to pray for you, to know that on the day that you do die and you go and you leave this earth forever, that you will be in the right place with God in heaven. So, Cody, will you pray a prayer of salvation so that those who are listening and watching this will know certainly that they're headed up to heaven?
I will do my best. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Your word. Heavenly Father God, I know you see the people that are watching this video, Lord. You see the people that are in that same bondage, that same torment, Lord God, that I was in. Lord, you have mercy, Lord. You are God of mercy. You are not such a high priest that you can't be touched by the feelings of our infirmities, Lord. But you care for us and you love us to the point of death, Lord God. I pray, Father, for anybody who's being deceived, that they're unlovable, Lord. That they start to feel the presence of the Holy Ghost touch them right now, Lord God. We pray that you would do a miracle, that you would work, that your hand would move in this thing, Lord, knowing that the time is short and that you're coming, draw near, Lord, that you're even at the door. I pray, Father God, that you'd have mercy, Lord, knowing that this is the end time harvest, God, and that your spirit would come and be present with every individual, Lord God. And I pray, God, that you would do that work in their heart, Lord God. Jesus, thank you. Have your way. So all you got to do is say, Jesus, I want you to be the Lord of my life. You enter his gates with thanksgiving. You tell him, thank you for dying on the cross for me. You know, I mean, it just makes sense. In court, you're not going to get off your fine, you know, just because you've done a bunch of good things afterwards. You know, the judge, if the judge is good, if he's a God of justice, and he's going to do his job. And if you've ever sinned, you've got to pay for it. It's either you or Jesus pays for it, you know? And so it's just a no-brainer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it says that many are blind, you know, and they're seeking another way. The New Age movement and all this stuff is worshiping demons. I'm telling you, those things are so clever, and you ain't got no hope. This thing will fool you. You know, thousands of years been taking out humans, and then here comes your little teenage hind end trying to act like you know something. I mean, it's just, there's the only hope is in Jesus, you know? He's the only answer to the brokenness that what this world is going through right now. And it's just going to get worse. You know, out of his mercy, out of his love for us, he's going to let it get hard, because hard times make a good man.
Yeah, we're going through it now. I mean, to stand for Christ. And we're seeing that things are really, we're a dividing point in this world. And if you stand for Christ, yes, you can be mocked, you can be criticized. I know I have been. I know, Cody, you have been. But, you know, it pays off in the end.
What up, John?
Have an eternity. I'll tell you that from my experience.
I would trade
You have a lot to look forward to. And
I would trade nothing for religion.
You know, I'm really grateful for these videos, because, like, I honestly, a little backstory, I gave Alex a sick-ass skateboard, had like $100 bearings, board was like $300, like one of my favorite prized possessions. And when I found out that I was missing things when I got back to Texas, I felt stolen from, because it's like, damn, dude, like, fuck, like, I thought you were my friend, I thought I could trust you, and you just, like, and, like, it doesn't matter if the battery was broken, like, that was mine, that was mine, I wasn't yours to take. And, like, when I went to pick up my things, like, the bag was tied super, super tight, and I remember thinking, like, why is this tied so tight? And I realized that, like, and I didn't even think in my mind that, oh, maybe something's not here, that's why it's tied, like, he doesn't want me to go through it and check that my things are here, because I just trusted you. And, like, I'm grateful that I got to see that you could bring yourself to do that to me. You know, regardless, I would never steal from you, bro, ever, especially someone that's living on the street. Like, I wouldn't, like, if anything, you would leave my presence with more things than you got there with. Like, I would never take from you, ever. And, like, I'm missing my Israel, but, like, I was just missing things, bro. And it's like, and I was waiting, like, I was like, oh, maybe it just was in a rush, and I'll get a message that's like, hey, I have these things, man, thanks for the board, like, and I wouldn't even have cared about the battery. It was just the principle of, like, damn, like, I thought I could trust this person, and I can't, and you showed me that part of you, man, and, like, that's cool, like, you can do that. I learned a lot from, you know, just people acting like they're your friend, but they really don't. Like, bro, I had some random bloke let me sleep in his backyard. Like, I had people that I knew just met that looked out for me more than you. So, and it's not your responsibility, but, like, you're my mod for years, dude. So like to just see like to see that like broke my heart. And it's like, but you showed me that like that's your true colors, dude. Like you obviously you felt slighted for whatever reason, and you felt like, you know, that you're gonna take that from me or keep it, and you didn't see that battery and say, hey, that's not mine. Like, he just blessed me up with this dope ass board. Like, should at least say, like, you just wanted to hit me up, like, hey homie, what's up? Hey, good to see you. And to me, I thought that was so phony, because I'm like, man, this is like, you know, like the transplants ruin the islands, because like a true Hawaiian would never do that. They would never steal from me. It's always the transplants that like fuck that island up. And bro, I just hope you like dial it in and stop taking things that aren't yours, man. You know, that's not cool. It's bad. It's like, it's bad vibes. And, you know. And but yeah, I hope you enjoy the board. Hope whatever you say about the battery, that battery works fine, dude. Yeah, some of the charging ports don't work, but I mean, it works. You can get it to work. So, but you obviously needed it more than me, bro. So, you know, and I'm glad, dude. I'm glad I left that island. I'm glad that you showed me that's what. If things like, I'm glad that you showed me that, because I don't want to live on the same island with somebody that could do that to me. That's lame, bro. That's not cool. But I forgive you. It's all good, man. Like I said, you obviously needed it more than me. Hope you enjoy the skateboard. Hope it brings a lot of good happiness to your life. Because I'm at that point in my life where I'm not going to hold that against you. And I hope that you figure it out and you turn to a higher power, and you have some type of moral compass that has integrity, man, because that's not an honest thing to do to somebody that's was living on the street, like going through the hardest time of my life, you know. But that, you know, that's just, I don't know, you know, like, I understand you didn't have a father, you didn't have a good mother, like, you probably weren't taught like to have integrity, unfortunately. So you felt mad that I was leaving the island, and you said, I'm keeping this is mine now, fuck you. And then I gave you the skateboard, and you text me, hey, just want to let you know we're all good. When I saw that text message, I was like, why wouldn't we be all good? Well, I didn't do anything to you. I didn't hurt you. I didn't steal from you. Why wouldn't we be all good? I felt like this was best for my life. And if you're truly my friend, you would respect that. But the fact that, like, you felt some type of way about me leaving, when, like, you didn't really even care about me enough to even let me shower at your house, dude. Your girlfriend was, like, offering. It's just like, wow, okay. So it's cool, you know? It's cool. You know? It's cool. Wish everyone well. Thanks for watching the stream.